I know plenty of dingy podcasts. I don't want to know anymore.
If nothing else, the cadence perfect.
This is the thing. I was working on it while watching
cadence.
I think the volume and the cadence, I think I have. There's certain ways he pronounces certain words that I have not exactly nailed.
I really buy the argument that he makes that he is a bad actor, but there's just nobody like him. Like that's Malkovich's argument.
Look, this is going to be 25% of Malkovich episode. Have we ever talked Malkovich on the pod before? I know we've invoked him. We've invoked the mighty Malkovich.
And he's never come.
This is one of those people where I'm like, in 7 years, have we never covered a movie that he is a hero?
I'm calling up the filmography. I don't know.
Because you didn't do
Beowulf.
Oh,
he is in Beowulf.
Creepy CGI Malkovich, my
doesn't really
count.
favorite actor of all time.
But when doing Spielberg, you don't do Empire.
We haven't done Empire
of the
Sun.
Right. We'll do it someday.
Man, he's got a lot of credits. He's one of those guys who works more than you think.
Yeah, he's got to maintain his Lisbon club. You guys know about that?
Yeah, and his weird fashion line.
Oh wait,
Ben perked up. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
John Malkovich owns a bar and restaurant or a dance club in Lisbon, Portugal.
A lovely place.
Yes. I've never been there. I've heard it's cool. But it's kind of an interesting side gig he has.
But John Malkovich also has a clothing line because he was like, no one was making the blazers I wanted to wear.
we did a Secretariat episode, right?
We did do. I forgot we did a Randall Wallace miniseries.
Let's see. I'm going, and I'm not seeing. Apart from Beowulf, of course.
Right.
Which,
look up Ben. Just while David's doing this, Google Malkovich clothing line. Yeah. No. Look. I mean, one of the most fascinating figures in the
we've
acting
never
world.
We've never done him apart from Beowulf.
So we're gonna go deep on it because this is it's not like this is his quintessential performance, but in a certain way, this is a movie where you really start thinking about what is Malkovich's deal? Why is he so compelling?
Sexual malevolence.
But this is
there's so many things going on.
He's a sun-dried tomato actor, in my opinion.
What does that mean?
If you put him on a sandwich, it's not like it's automatically going to be bad, but it's going to dominate in your mouth.
Yes.
When you eat you're certainly going to be getting some sun-dried tomato out of this bite.
Both
a little
texture,
oily,
texture,
a little leathery.
Taste, look. If you see a sun-dried tomato on a sandwich, you're like, I got to prep myself for what.
And you're sort of like, what? Were they sure they knew what they were doing putting the sun-dried tomato on the sandwich? And sometimes you're like, you know what? I love it. You know what? This is great.
When he's used well, it's
but it's
he's
very
the best
aggressive
actor
choice.
alive. You know
very aggressive choice
of
to
course.
include John Malkovich in any movie. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Has he ever been in something where you're like, oh, he's in that? Don't remember. He didn't make an impression on me in that.
He's never not made an impression, right?
No, he's a very memorable screen presence.
David's invoked this for people who don't know this famous story of if you have not seen Rounders, he does one of the most inaccurate and over-the-top accents of all time.
Have you seen Rounders? Do you know the story?
Well,
it was on Bill Simmons' podcast.
I think I've
told
heard
this a number of times.
He's told
please,
that's right.
Yeah, please
So I mean, John Malkovich does for the Russian community in Rounders what Dick Van Dyke did
for Cockney chimney sweeps. Yes, sure,
right. Perhaps with a little less technical accuracy. And
it's a good performance. I like it.
Yeah, and Damon and fucking
playing
Norton
a character called Teddy KGB, just in case it wasn't offensive.
Well, and the character is so subtly written. But Damon and Norton are like the two fucking anointed. Are these the next great leading men?
But they're kids.
They're serious.
They're excited.
They're fucking hardcore. Right. And Malkovich shows up on his first day, and he's doing this insane I am going to go all in on this hand accent.
They've all been waiting with bated breath for him to arrive on set.
Heavy hitter. We're working with an elder statesman.
He starts doing that accent, and Damon's just everyone is like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. They call cut.
Right.
John Dahl comes over. He's like, Matt, maybe try this differently. Da-da-da-da. No notes for Malkovich. And it's take 2, and Malkovich goes even bigger. And he's like, let's actually change to a 35 and this and that. John, keep it up. Good stuff. And Damon's perplexed, and he's like, is this a prank on me?
Right.
And Malkovich at some point clocks his incredulity and goes like, "Come in." Waves him
Come
over.
on, I've got something to tell you.
Do you want to do the delivery?
No, you do it. Go ahead.
He goes, my secret is I'm a terrible actor.
It's a great story.
It's a great story. You think about it all the time. There are also all these quotes from Malkovich where he's like, acting is very easy. A moron could do it. A dog could do it. It's not, I don't understand why anyone's impressed. There are also these things about him where he's like, there's stories from people who were part of Steppenwolf with him at the time where they were like, he is so right-wing that it felt like a put-on.
He certainly
Wait,
is. He has crazy
really?
politics to this day. Yeah.
He would like throw parties when there were lethal injections, and they'd be like, "Is this edgelord stuff?" And he'd be like, "No, I like it when justice is served."
I mean, he's one of those guys where he's like, I haven't voted since I like voted for George McGovern in 1972.
He lives in France now, right? Primarily in the south of France.
He lives in Europe. I guess it's
Right.
in France. He hates paying taxes. He's always
Yeah.
complaining about that. But then he'll occasionally be like, "I'd like to shoot that politician. What a gas bag he is," or what,
Right.
like
I
he'll give.
love
Wait, but
guns.
is that just like a riff on his role in The Line of Fire?
I don't know, but it's like maybe that's why he was good. Maybe that's why they cast him.
Right. No, I'm sorry. Yes, he left France.
Okay.
In a dispute over taxes. He now lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Okay, wow.
He lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Go look him up. Knock on some doors. One
okay,
Malkovich Road.
Massachusetts Blankies. If you have any good
Yeah.
Malkovich stories,
Malkovich,
please drop us a line on social media.
I mean, you've now invoked what our listenership is called Blankies. We should mention that this is a blank check with Griffin and
Right,
David. I'm
right.
Griffin.
I'm David.
It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their careers, like, say, The Piano, and are given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want, like, say, Portrait of a Lady, and sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce, baby, like, say, Portrait of a Lady.
It is a bouncer.
It's
a
a
bounce.
miniseries on the films of Jane Campion. It's called The Podcastiano.
It's called The Podcastiano. I actually will advance an argument here.
Oh?
Yes, this movie made $3 million, which isn't very much. And it probably costs more than that.
Spoiler.
I think
like 24. I think it costs like 24 million.
So that's not great.
yeah.
And I don't think they're like selling it to Netflix this year and getting tons or whatever.
No.
It's actually unavailable for
Imagine
streaming
like
right
the
now.
fucking tweets about like the town is coming to Netflix in 2 days about Portrait of a Lady going on there. This movie is unrentable. I don't know if
It
you
is.
noticed
Well,
this.
it was on Criterion for a while.
It might have been on Criterion. It was on Paramount Plus that you could have rented it through
It'll
Amazon.
pop up and out.
It will
and-
occasionally
and
show up
now
on
it's
streaming
gone.
It's
services.
available on Blu-ray through Shout Factory.
It sure
Got the
is, which
Blu-ray,
is
but
Get
you
it from your
can't get it on
local
iTunes,
library.
Amazon. You can't rent it from any of these places. It's not on any streaming
What are
service.
they
At the
trying
moment,
to
we're
hide?
it was also apparently like not in circulation. I mean, not only did the Blu-ray take a long time, but I think there was not an American DVD.
Her movies are underrepresented on disc. It's sort of weird. This one has the Blu-ray, but like In the Cut has never been released on Blu-ray in America.
Excuse me. There's that weird set that I bought, which
Yeah,
is
there's
called
the
the
weird
6
set.
Degrees Collection,
Yeah.
which
What?
is it's a Kevin Bacon box set that Mill Creek put out. Who, for those who don't know, is usually like a bargain basement budget home video company. It's the 6 Degrees Collection. Here's what's included on it: the Kevin Bacon Collection, In the Cut, Flatliners, Hollow Man, The Big Picture, the Christopher Guest movie.
movie.
What's it called? Trapped or Abandoned? Trapped. And then the sixth one is the fucking Adam McGoy
Where
movie.
the Truth Lies. Not a terrible movie.
Isn't that
the
a
threesome
wild-
movie.
That is,
Wild.
but even calling In the Cut a Kevin Bacon movie
Yes.
is
He's in it.
psychotic.
He's
Yes.
in it.
I know, but
That whole collection is psychotic.
He's in it for a few scenes.
The
But,
6 Degrees
You're right. That is technically the only way.
That's
to
the
watch
only way to
on
get it.
Blu-ray.
wow.
But anyway,
Bright Star's never been released on Blu-ray.
I believe no, right?
No.
It's weird that that's not a Criterion movie or whatever. I don't know what.
I
didn't-
think
there's weird rights stuff. I'm sure.
I
is
feel
so
like it's
often the answer.
maybe coming.
It might be coming.
Yeah.
But especially now with
Yes.
Mhm.
Power
Yeah.
of the Dog, I think Portrait of a Lady making $4 million domestic and getting 2 Oscar nominations basically is a clear. It basically counts as a clear
Okay.
for a movie this difficult. That's almost impressive.
This is a phenomenon I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is it touches a little bit on our friend Joe Reed and his podcast This Had Oscar Buzz.
Mm.
But it's the sort of like movie after the Oscar breakthrough where the expectations are so fucking high. And it's like, they're doing this subject matter, or adapting this, or working with these actors. They have this cast. They're getting this budget level. And it comes out, and there's like a sense of complete deflation that it's not another like fucking wolf whistle masterpiece. But it doesn't totally bomb, and then it gets like a couple salvage nominations.
I mean, most recently, I'm thinking of If Beale Street Could Talk.
Right, which did better than this.
Which is a movie that I think is a masterpiece, but it's a perfect example of like, it wasn't Moonlight again in the public consciousness.
The thing that was smart about If Beale Street Could Talk was it came out so quickly after Moonlight that it was almost like, let me just get that whole conversation out of the way, right?
But that's a great example.
How are you following
and that's a rare
Moonlight?
one that gets like the one win, right? But that's an example. I feel like Memoirs of a Geisha is an incredible example of that. Very Long Engagement After Amelie is one I've always been very fascinated with.
That movie's good, though.
I like that movie a lot. I think very often, this is my point, I think very often a lot of those movies end up being good. Like the king of this genre, I would argue, is Talented Mr. Ripley, which now has been reclaimed as a masterpiece.
Classic.
But at the time, absolutely people underwhelmed with critics.
Interesting.
And the Oscars. Although it still got,
So I think like 50% of the time with distance, you're like, oh, that one actually ages better than the one that was the Oscar movie.
Often true. Sure.
What was
and sometimes they sort of disappear.
What was John Madden's follow-up to Shakespeare in Love? Was it
Wasn't
Captain Corelli's mandolin?
Now that's an example of one that's just like...
But that was the thing, though. Like after, I mean, obviously no one came out of Shakespeare in Love being like, I got to see what John Madden's doing next. No offense to the guy.
Oh, sure, but he
certainly had clout.
Yes.
I'm triple checking that it was his fault. Yes. But Captain Corelli's Mandolin, people mock it now because Nicolas Cage had a funny accent, but that book was a 90s bestseller on every shelf type thing. So like he's making Captain Corelli great. And then you cast an American guy as an Italian and a Spanish woman as a Greek lady.
Also, producer Ben and Marie Bardi are here.
Yeah, hey guys.
Marie!
It's a Bardi party.
You wouldn't steal a DVD.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Super Yaki shirt that someone sent me for my birthday 2 years ago.
I just think this movie is such a good example of that exact phenomenon, which can play out different ways. And there is that thing where it's like, oh, it's thought of as like a disaster, but then you're like, it got okay reviews, and it did get a couple Oscar nominations.
Right. I would say a surprising Barbara Hershey nom. I know she got every precursor. It's not like it came out of nowhere, but you watch this movie. She's great in the movie, in my opinion.
She's my favorite part of this movie.
I agree. But it's not like you watch this movie and you're like, well, I can see why the Oscars just had to give it to her. I think it's impressive that it,
Who
stayed
else
in the
was nominated that year?
I'll look it up.
Is this the English Patient year? Yeah. So Binoche
1996, right?
It is, yeah.
Binoche wins.
You're right.
Binoche wins. So this is the Binoche versus Lauren Bacall.
Right.
And then you've got Marianne Jean-Baptiste in Secrets and Lies, a great nom.
Mm-hmm.
But, and there's a world where she could have won because that's sort of almost a quasi-lead role and like she's really good. But
there's a world where she could have won if Miramax only had one of those two movies.
They were, and then Joan Allen in The Crucible, which is just sort of that start of like Joan Allen gets a nom. That like sort of late 90s thing.
Was that the only nomination The Crucible got? That's like a movie that doesn't exist.
That movie stinks.
Yeah.
It got an adapted screenplay nomination for Arthur Miller.
Okay.
It's kind of like when they nominated Kenneth Branagh for adapting Hamlet. He didn't cut any part out of it. The movie's 4 hours long. He just sort of said, like, I'll film this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really them not to nominate Shakespeare. You should get credit.
Yeah, exactly. Give it to Billy.
Yeah, give it to Billy.
And Lauren Bacall Jr. Yeah, but and then Binoche, right? Binoche is a quasi lead too. That's why she won partly.
I mean, America had English Patient fever that year.
Yeah, it was out of control.
I mean, in my opinion, Binoche is the best part of The English Patient, and it's a weird win when you think about Juliette Binoche's career.
I've never seen The English Patient.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah, wow.
Because it was
we're like
the Seinfeld episode.
English Patient, favorite movie. When the English guy is patient, I love that.
You should mention Ben is covered in bandages right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
English Patient is not bad, and yet
that's
it is.
What I've heard.
Yeah. I would say maybe my least favorite Minghella.
What are his other movies outside of Ripley
Breaking
and Cold Mountain?
Entering?
Yeah, okay, it's probably better than Breaking and Entering. Although that movie is interesting. His other movies are Truly Madly Deeply, Cold Mountain, and Talented Miss Ripley.
Okay, I've only seen Ripley, which is in the Bardi canon. But,
Ripley is his best.
Yeah.
What's Cold Mountain about?
No, it's actually very complicated. It's like a Civil War epic where a guy is making like this Odyssean journey back home.
Starring the star of Portrait of a Lady, Nicole Kidman.
That's I mean, Cold Mountain is half an awesome movie, and then the Nicole Kidman half, in my opinion, is much more.
It's
flawed.
got great stuff in it.
It's got great stuff.
It's
in
got
it. Looks
great
cool.
stuff in it. Yeah,
got Jack White in it.
Jack White,
he's like playing
really
the fiddle.
Cool in it.
Hey, that's fun.
Is that how he met Renee?
I think it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
a
for
forgotten
those who don't
celebrity
know,
romance. Yeah.
Jack White and Renee Zellweger were a couple for a minute.
That
Thing
was
I
how
was
Renee
going to say.
won one of her 2 deserved Oscars. JK.
Barbara
she's all right,
Hershey.
Mhm.
You have to remember, she starts acting when she's like a teenager.
Mhm.
She's on TV
in that
and
Frank
movies.
Perry movie, which
Yep.
is one of the most horrifying movies I've ever seen. What's it called? Last Summer.
Yes,
Oh my God.
wild. And then she marries David Carradine.
Yep.
And she's like this very public, like hippie child, and she changes her name to Barbara Siegel.
Yep.
Because she's on the set of a movie and she sees a seagull die over her head, and she felt
that
the-
is
That is
Last
the
Summer.
Frank
Spirit.
Perry movie.
Right.
Last Summer.
she felt the spirit entered her, and she's like kind of a gossip rag sort of fixation for
Little
like
bit.
this kooky hippie girl.
Yep.
Where she can't get any respect as an actor. Her marriage overwhelms it. All
I think
this stuff.
she becomes they become like a couple unit in the
Yes.
eyes of somebody.
Right,
She's
right.
so good in Boxcar Bertha where
Yeah.
she met.
But
David Carradine.
that's like the first movie where someone's really kind of like figuring out
Great-
what to
great
do with
performance.
her. And
Yeah.
then it's like her career doesn't really take off until the 80s, at which point she's like
Beaches
15
and
years
Last
in.
Temptation, baby.
Beaches,
she's
Last
also-
Temptation, obviously Hannah and Her Sisters.
Really
Yeah.
good. in
She
Hannah and Her
wins
Sisters.
back-to-back Best Actress awards at Cannes.
Is that so?
Yes, Shy People, and the other one I'm forgetting the name
Oh,
of.
Shy People. That's been on my list
Very-
for a minute.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
that
I
Russian
watched-
director, right?
Yes, it's the guy who
Yeah,
directed
A
fucking
World-
Tango and Cash.
A
Yeah,
World
that
Apart
too.
Yeah,
is the other one, which was like a sort of a shared win. Like all the women were given Best Actress
Weird.
from that film.
but she's
yes,
like the above the title.
I believe she
Yeah.
is, and it's like that's the next year. So
Right.
that is crazy.
So I'm just
What a
saying,
weird
like I was
phenomenon.
digging into her.
She's so good in Last Temptation.
Yeah.
Great performance.
But she gets the Globe for that the nomination. She doesn't get the Oscar nomination.
Too much controversy.
She got 2 BAFTA nominations. She didn't get the Oscar nomination. Portrait of a Lady is sort of, it just feels like the Academy going like, fine, we accept Barbara Hershey. You're a legitimate actor.
Well, you know
like
what her-
she's just had a good 10 years.
agreed with that.
Yeah.
Agreed with that. I do think that's part of and they got critics awards and all that. But
Yeah.
her 2 BAFTA nominations. The first was for Hannah and Her Sisters.
Right.
But what was the second for?
The second one's something bizarre, right?
Black Swan.
Right.
That was kind of her comeback.
I
'cause
love
she
it.
wasn't really in anything notable, right?
No, that
After
was a
Portrait of a
yeah.
Lady.
I love it when the BAFTAs do that.
Yes.
I wish they do it more. I think
Yeah.
they are starting to do it more again. They're getting weirder again. There was a
I feel
period
they-
where they were kind of like just being an Oscar
Right.
precursor.
I feel like they nominated Tilda Swinton for Burn After Reading, which is another nomination I loved.
Love
They
that.
might have. That's fun.
They also famously nominated Eddie Murphy for Best Supporting Actor.
For
And let me
Shrek?
check my notes. Well, you beat me to it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Is that the only
And you're
vocal
right.
performance they've ever nominated?
Probably.
Right? Because I think they did.
That was in the year they also nominated Robbie Coltrane for Harry Potter. Like
Right.
it's a very
It's
fun
wild.
year.
Yeah.
It's a very fun
Wow.
BAFTA
There's
year.
one year where they nominated like 4 different supporting performances from Vera Drake. They nominated like every sad
That's the
couple.
most
That's what
British
they
thing
should
of
have
all
done.
time.
Yeah.
You're correct, however, that they nominated Brad Pitt and Tilda Swinton for Burn After
Brad
Reading.
Pitt, incredible nomination for Burn After
Yeah.
Reading.
Yeah.
But see, I maybe would have given Malkovich.
Well, you love
The-
that character.
That's like my favorite. Yeah. Yeah.
With
one of my
this-
favorite characters.
Listen
of all
to our
time.
Double
Coen
Threat
Brothers bracket
episode.
on Double Threat. All of this to say, I think there was this Barbara Hershey, like finally the Academy gives in and recognizes her.
Right.
And then as you said, Marie, she kind of like that's sort of the end of her really strong run. But it was Sarandon was supposed to play this part,
Oh, in this. Okay.
drops out, and then she offered it to Sigourney, who of course she wanted Sigourney to do the piano.
Mhm.
And then Sigourney passes, and then it goes to Barbara Hershey.
A great performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
great.
like all the performances in this movie. Malkovich is the one that requires the most debate, but I think he's well cast.
I think,
Like as that character.
yeah, I think he's well cast as that character, especially with Campion's interpretation of that character, which I think is putting it in more of the realm of like a
Malevolence.
sexual
Yeah, right.
malevolence versus him being an artist and an aesthete. those elements are there, but I think she's prioritizing the sexuality of him.
You have read this book, Marie.
No, I have not.
What? I thought you had.
I'm
sorry.
Well,
I read the book.
What?
No.
I own the book. I started reading the book this week.
Okay.
And then as I was reading it, I'm like, I get X amount of pages in, and I'm like, none of this stuff has really happened in the movie yet. And then I like jump on Wikipedia, and it's
she cut out
the first third of the book. So I was like, I'm not going to finish it in time for our recording of this episode.
It's a long book, and the first third, is all about her like rejecting the proposals and stuff, which she condenses to like 2 minutes at the start of the movie.
David, look, I don't mean to blow up your spot on mic, but I've been waiting.
My God, are you about to propose to David?
I'm not going to propose to David.
Oh, okay.
He's married, and I respect that.
Wow. Okay.
I respect the sanctity of his marriage.
Wow, cuck for fucking marriage over here.
This episode has been on the spreadsheet for months.
Okay.
And I've been waiting for you to step up and do the noble thing, and you have refused, so I now need to call you out on Maine.
I truly have no idea what he's about to say.
You must recuse yourself from this episode because Portrait of a Lady was published in the Atlantic.
It was, which is actually something
you must
I had
recuse
forgotten,
yourself.
But it was published as a serial
You
in
are
the Atlantic.
by
That is so crazy.
A mere 130 years before they hired.
Yeah, so the same people. You're working with the same people.
You have so much
today.
in common with Henry James. You're both published in the Atlantic.
Yes.
You both are New Yorkers
Yeah.
We both
who are
love kissing.
fascinated with Europeans. You love kissing. I mean,
Sandwiches.
Those that, of course, that's back in the when it was the Atlantic Monthly, and it was published out of Boston. The Atlantic used to be famous Boston institution until the 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, isn't that funny? It's also funny because like, God love Henry James, but like he's no Dickens or whatever, where you're like, well, I can see how this was like serialized,
right?
And people were like, I can't wait for the next chapter.
It doesn't feel like fucking Bonfire of the Vanities.
Heady, dense stuff.
What is Isabel Archer going to think next?
Right, exactly. But it was serialized in the Atlantic Monthly from 1880 to 1881.
Wow, how interesting.
I mean, that was his thing, was he thought this book was unadaptable. And when he was first asked for permission to adapt it into play, he was like, the best scene in the book is her sitting in a chair thinking.
Right.
I don't know how you're going to do this.
It's a very internal
work. Let me
go
with the dossier then.
David, please.
Just a little context. I know you have much to say, Marie, of course. I know you've looked at the dossier too.
I have things to say too, David, just for the record.
Well, you already launched with your...
And Ben has things to say.
I could say stuff.
Ben's very capable of saying things.
Well, do your thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So after the piano wins the Palme d'Or at Cannes and 3 Oscars and makes $40 million despite being a sexual fantasia about, piano keys and fucking.
It's the blank check thing we talk about. People are like, I have no idea why the fuck this worked. You couldn't design this movie. Clearly, you're just onto something. Go off and do it again.
It's a guarantor.
Hoop, skirt, cunnilingus.
Absolutely. Of course.
Can I get that one more time?
Hoop, skirt,
cunnilingus.
You're popping on the hoop. Okay. She's lined up this thing that she's always talks about in these early dossiers. We see this movie called My Guru and His Disciple, which is a memoir by Christopher Isherwood about
his evil genius and his minions. Oh, I'm sorry.
His guru, Swami. I'm not going to even try to say his name. I don't want to.
Yeah. Christopher Isherwood, famously the writer of the story behind Cabaret, correct?
This is a long-term thing that she'd said she'd been talking about since like Angel at My Table or whatever. But it does not happen. I think part of the problem was, I don't know, the screenplay kind of had trouble and they never could figure it out. It just goes unproduced. Okay. It's like El Diablo for Carpenter or whatever. It's just one of those projects that never happens. And instead, she also is thinking about Portrait of a Lady, her favorite book of all time.
Okay.
Which that's how I feel. If I'm like Jane Campion and I'm suddenly people are knocking on my door, I might be like, well, what's like my favorite book ever? Right? Like you start to get Pie in the Sky, right? I get that.
What is your favorite book ever?
I don't know. I know. Fuck, I'm on the spot. Someone else.
I mean, have you thought about like your dream adaptation? If someone was like, David, here's your blank check. Because I've got mine.
What's yours?
Okay. Mine is another Henry James adaptation. I'd love to, if anyone in Hollywood is listening and can help me with this,
Or back off if
Yeah,
you're trying to steal it.
Do not steal this idea. Adaptation of Washington Square. So another version of The Heiress, except it's adapted to be a Britney Spears type.
That does sound like a Marie Bardi project.
It sounds like a Marie Bardi
My
project.
mother wrote her college thesis on Washington Square.
Really?
Yes. Stoner is one of my favorite books, which is supposedly getting turned into a movie starring Casey Affleck. Like, that's been happening for years. Who knows if it's going to... Like, Blumhouse is producing it.
What?
Which is, as much as it's called Stoner, and I know Ben perked up at that, it's like... It's about a depressed middle-aged English professor, but it's really, really good.
Blumhouse quietly 3 Best Picture nominees, though. It's a thing that doesn't get talked about.
No, it's true. They'll occasionally dip their toe in prestige.
It's impressive that among all his other achievements, Jason Blum has personally pulled down 3 Best Picture nominations.
But everything I'm saying about this, it's just sort of like what you're saying. Like, this book seems unadaptable. No one had ever really, figured out how to approach it. But I guess Jane Campion is just like, that's my favorite book. It like transformed how I think about things. Like, it stuck with me. There has to be a way for me to like crack that one open.
Marie, you tipped us off to the documentary on the special features of the DVD.
There is a
it's on YouTube
behind the scenes doc. It's on the Blu-ray, but it also is on YouTube. It is fascinating. It's incredibly candid. You get to see actors feeling insecure about their performances and being insane on set.
Sort of just like verite, fly on wall. You're from a distance. It's a little hard to hear a lot of what's saying because they're clearly just sort of like capturing shit from a distance. But the process of her working over scenes take after take after take, and like Shelley Winters and Nicole Kidman respond by just like emotionally breaking down, and John Malkovich becomes very quietly hostile in a way that's surprising from John Malkovich. But as Bill Hader would say, he goes on a bizarrely articulate jag.
It is fascinating. I mean, the Shelley Winters thing is especially fascinating because she's such a heavyweight. You're sort of like, this is Shelley Winters. Like, this isn't her first rodeo. Like,
but there's that thing she says where she's like, everyone tells me this is apparently a thing that like Shelley Winters likes to be like pushed into performances, and I don't want to be a bully. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but like that's apparently what I have to do, and I don't know whether I should tend to her or like.
There are some very interesting and impactful things that happen to Jane Campion in between making The Piano.
Yes.
And Portrait of a Lady.
I'm about to get to that, but first I want to read her quote about why she loves the book.
Yes, go ahead, David.
1 in 10,000 people read the novel. And of those who read it, many don't bother finishing it. But I did this for myself. Sometimes in life, you read things or see things that make what you're struggling with seem real or reasonable. I think Henry James has the gift of doing that for me. He's grappled with telling stories that are profound and yet human. So that's obviously relating to the fact that post-Piano, I want to get right. It's right after The Piano. In November 1993, Jane Campion has a baby, Jasper, and the baby dies after 10 days of life support. He was born like with a deathly defect.
She's like pregnant at Cannes when she wins the Palme d'Or.
Wow.
And by the time she wins the Oscar, she has lost the baby, which means that she had to do all of her award season campaigning, grieving the loss of her child.
And that's unreal.
Which is unreal.
And then the other crazy thing is because she has a daughter, Alice Englert. You can see her in movies. That terrible movie about snakes. A much better movie about witches I saw at Sundance this year. But she was pregnant with her 6 months after Jasper died. Yeah. So if Jasper died in November, that's like April or whatever. So it's like right after the Oscar. It's so bananas.
But she said that, it was supposed to be the best time of her life. Basking in the success of her movie.
Climbed the mountain.
And it was the worst time of her life.
There's an incredible quote from her in the dossier that's from a film comment interview like years later, where she says, like, people say making movies isn't a cure for cancer. I disagree. Filmmaking is a cure. It gives you a reason for living. When my son died, on the 3rd day I was devastated. I didn't know what to do with myself. I went to see Orlando. Great movie. No one's seen it.
Great movie.
It was so beautiful. The earth can be transformed. There are moments of wonder, extreme wonder, and that's all worth living for. In an act of making a movie, you are involved with those moments, those transformations. For me, it's been a way of life that's totally fulfilling.
Wow.
Such a great quote.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very sad, but it's also very powerful.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and she's directing this movie with a toddler on set, and they like cover that in the documentary, that trying to figure out how to balance those two parts of her brain. David?
Yes?
Let's face it. Okay?
I can't.
No,
Can't face it.
Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. Taking trips to the post office is probably not how you want to spend your time.
It's true.
Admit it.
I don't want to spend my time doing that.
Admit it. And you know what, David?
What?
I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it in my bones.
You've known.
And that is why I recommend mailing and shipping online at stamps.com.
Oh, because they allow you to mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer.
Yep.
You can send letters,
Sure.
you can ship packages.
Absolutely.
And wait, Griff, can you pay a lot less with discounted rates from USPS, UPS, and more?
I'll tell you this much. You're not paying more.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I know stamps.
You're paying less. I should underline. They wouldn't be happy if the implication was that it was the same amount. You're paying significantly less.
Look, with stamps.com, you're going to get the services of the post office and UPS all in one place. It saved businesses thousands of hours and tons of money.
And time is money. So in a way, you're making double money.
That's right. And you get big discounts. Like we said, on mailing and shipping rates. They bring the service of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS right to your computer. It's a must-have for any business. Whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller shipping out orders, or a giant warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle it with ease.
Oh, David.
What's the matter?
David, I am just jonesing to motivate our audience.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to tell our audience, those filthy, dirty pigs, that Stamps.com is a no-brainer.
Why is that?
It saves you time and money. It's no wonder that nearly 1 million small businesses already use Stamps.com.
It's very, very helpful. It's been used by Blank Check.
Yeah.
They've been with us for years.
Been used by me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk.
There's no risk.
And with our promo code CHECK, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in CHECK. That's Stamps.com, promo code CHECK.
Check.
Stamps.com, never go to the post office again.
Never go to the post office again.
I won't.
Don't do it. The thing that jumped out to me in the documentary, which I only watched half of before I fell asleep, but also it's just so fucking hard to hear what they're saying that I want to watch it like 6 times because I tried to put the fucking auto subtitling on YouTube and that's made up nonsense gobbledygook.
Right.
But she has the thing where she's like, I tell people I'm doing Portrait of a Lady. And people go, oh, I can't wait to see what you do with that, what your take on it is. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I hadn't really thought
that I needed a take or whatever.
Or that, I mean, it's almost an admission from her that she's just like, I'm just making another movie. And that now there's an expectation of like,
sure,
what
right.
When we see Portrait of Henry James through the lens of James Campion,
she's still like, what? I'm making movies, right?
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean, that I think, as you said, it's her favorite book. It's just like I'm just gonna make the movie I would make off of this. I'm not really thinking of how to transform the material into this medium or whatever in that deliberate way, but also that she's not thinking about how she is perceived and what people expect out of a Jane Campion movie.
It's a weird level of famous. We're sorry, Marie. What do you
well, I think she does have a take on the material.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
And I think we're going to get into that. But I also think that, yes, she is navigating a part in her career that is new to her.
Right.
That is the weight of expectations, the weight of the follow-up, which we talk about in every series we do on the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting that we have this record of her on set.
Right.
Literally grappling with that.
It's also like, I mean, she keeps on talking about like, I'm glad I didn't make this movie earlier in my career because I don't think I had the confidence to work with actors.
Yes, that's a very interesting part.
I was sort of intimidated by actors.
Right.
And then there's like this interview with Malkovich.
Especially big actors. Like,
right.
You know,
But Malkovich is like, I have a very fiery temper and
I'm not easy to work with.
Right. I'm known for this. It's my reputation. And then they cut to her just being like, she has this line where she's like, John, I don't know if it's just because, like, I mean, obviously because I know that you are acting, but sometimes I'm watching it and I feel like you're acting. And then they cut to Malkovich and he's like doing his like whisper silent, right? Like just very focused, like, I mean, come on, this isn't a Botticelli painting. I mean, I understand we don't want this to look like a porno movie out of focus, but let's just get it done.
Yeah. The shoot did not seem like a fun time.
No, and they sort of say like it was like it was great when Malkovich rapped, and they say it like, because, you know, those scenes are so difficult.
Sure, they right, the most emotionally demanding,
Right.
I guess, but no.
He also has this line.
It would be funny if, like, you see like them popping shit,
Right.
It's
They almost do. I mean, it's like the last thing they shoot with him is they make him shave his beard and paint his mouth blue to do the close up on his mouth.
when he says like, I love you.
I am in love with
I
you,
am
or
in love
whatever.
with you. And it's like I think one of the standout scenes in the film, which is her little travelogue.
Those sequences are my favorite.
So
when
they're
she
great.
goes like full fucking Jean Vigo.
Yeah.
It rules. But Malkovich also has this thing he says, and when he walks off of that set, everyone does feel like they're waiting to like fucking pop the.
It's also funny because Richard E. Grant, who is also in this movie, has an insane cast.
Bananas.
It does.
Let's just name some people who are in this movie. Shelley Duvall,
Shelley
Bale.
Winters, Christian Bale, Viggo Mortensen,
Yeah,
Mary
Mortensen with a very
Louise
nice
Parker,
haircut.
John Gielgud,
And a certain man, John Gielgud
Martin-
going like this, and a certain man who had only one word for us.
Tenet.
Yes, Hap himself, Martin Donovan.
Martin Donovan, who at this point in his career is mostly known for Hal Hartley movies.
it's funny how he kind of went from being this like quintessential, like intellectual, like soft boy to being like Mr. Suit.
Yeah.
I know it is weird. He's a chameleon. No, he's. It's just funny how Hollywood like changes its perception of you,
Right.
as a character actor,
Right.
in that way. Like, right, where like
Right.
you don't do a couple of those, and it's like, yeah, you're Mr. Businessman now, or
Right.
whatever.
But it's just so funny in this behind the scenes doc when Richard E. Grant, who is in the beginning of the movie,
Yes.
comes back later in the movie and also comes back later to film, and he's
Right.
Dishing with the makeup artist like,
Right.
"Ooh, what did I miss?
He
Is everyone
seems-
miserable now?"
Right. He seems like the anti-Malkovich.
I think
Yeah,
he's the
he
most
just
pleasant
seems
person
like
in the
a
world to work
fun
with.
guy.
He's fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's a good time, right?
But the other thing Malkovich says is he's like, I've always bored the process of how long these things take. And when I started making movies, it was unpleasant. And it has now gone from like unpleasant to unbearable. I don't understand why we need to do 120 takes.
You know what
thing.
this is making me want to see?
What?
Behind the scenes talk of Space Force or whatever.
Fucking
Imagine what a
anything.
barrel of laughs he is on that one.
I'm trying to remember this anecdote that I think someone shared with both of us.
Okay.
Or was it just with me?
Might have just been with you.
I think it was just with me that on Space Force there was some scene where they asked.
It is called Space Force, right? I don't really
Yeah.
remember these.
Right.
yeah.
I'm going to get this wrong. It's funnier than what I'm about to relay, but this is the basic idea of it. I think they like asked Malkovich if he wanted another take, and he was like, "What's the point? It's not going to make it any better.
Sure.
Like,
Right.
it's another take isn't going to make this good."
He's a famous stage actor early in his career.
Yes.
He's obviously, like we said, from the Steppenwolf company. It does seem like he's one of those guys who's like, I hate how they make movies. And it's like, bitch, stop making them. then.
Yes.
But he got famous and he got a lot of money.
Like,
and
and
he
he
have a club
liked-
in Lisbon, I guess.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
right.
And
What are you
everyone
going
else
to
in
do?
like Steppenwolf is like so heady and serious and sort of like text based. And he's like, I don't know. I walk on and I say things. And then in movies, they make me do it too many times, and I can't
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
stand it.
It does seem annoying. I wouldn't like it either.
He also has that quote where he's like, a production like this, you do understand why it's a job. Why acting is a job because it's just sometimes so unbearable.
Yeah.
So basically, your impression from this documentary is this was a tough shoot.
A very tough shoot.
This is her biggest budget movie ever until Power of the Dog, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's just kind of keeping Kidman on hair trigger for the
Yes.
entire shoot. Like
And-
there's something to her take on this, which is just like to have the abusive, controlling guy be Malkovich and never really have him blow up, right? Like the king of like the simmering, terrifying
Right. The
whisper.
most he does is like, this will be a very calculated move by you. Like,
Right.
his
But
words
he never
get
even gets
pointed.
that
No, but he
loud.
never,
It's
exactly.
Like it's
yeah.
always so quiet. And Kidman never has like the fall to her knees Oscar scene. It's like just the whole
No.
movie she's trembling, right? Like
Yes.
she just had to be kept in this state for months. And she talks about like some days I just come to set and I'm like done. I'm dead. I'm not relaxed. I can't access these things. And I tell her I can't do it. And Jane pushes me. And when she finished this movie, she said she was in bed for 2 weeks afterwards.
So this is a great segue.
Yeah.
We've talked about Barbara Hershey. We've talked about Malkovich, but we got to talk Kidman.
We
gotta
do.
talk
I mean, this
This
is a
is
very.
a very crucial point in her career.
It is because it's post To Die For, right?
The year
it's
before
after.
this is To Die For and Batman Forever. So it's like she has this huge fucking hit.
Playing the best DC Comics character of all time, Dr. Chase Meridian.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but IMDb trivia tells us that her name is Dr. Chase Meridian as a subtle allusion to the fact that she is chasing Batman. It's my favorite IMDb trivia fact. I've mentioned this at least 3
You
times.
mentioned it many times. I just
Someone
love
was just so proud
whatever
when they
fucking
typed that up.
poked up exactly like Akiva Goldsman later. He's like Dr. Jason. He's like looking around and in the maps.
Wait,
it's like
she's
Greenwich
not.
Mean
She's
Time.
not in the comics.
No.
Oh,
No, absolutely not.
All those early Batman movies just
Vicky
have.
Vale's in the
Vicky
comics.
I
Vale's in
guess
the
she
comics.
is.
Yeah.
But, you know, like. But like, I just feel like it was this thing of like, there has to be a woman who's on Bruce Wayne's mind, right?
Yes.
Like the
Right.
Nolan movies and all that don't really care about. I mean, they have
Well,
Rachel, but like she's at least sort of like in the action a little bit.
Right.
Like, like the Elle Macpherson, you know,
The Elle
Yeah.
McPherson one's the weirdest
is
one.
where it's just sort of like, well, there's also like a lovely lady that Bruce
Right.
could consider settling down with.
But I feel like
I guess Rachel Dawes is just an evolved version of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Batman Forever, and then who could forget Talia al Ghul? What
Anyway,
was her fake name?
Oh, spoiler alert.
Professor,
go on.
museum person. No,
So-
all I was gonna say is the year before this, Batman Forever is arguably a movie star level up for her, right?
Yeah.
She's obviously like a big ass star, and
It's
she's
hard
married
to
Tom
understate
Cruise.
how successful that film.
It was
Yes,
so
but
fucking
it
huge.
doesn't matter that the movie was successful. We didn't know if she could really act.
Sure, it would
To
be easy
Die
to
For
dismiss
That's
is
her.
the
what
point.
To Die
changes
For
That's
is
my
the-
point.
right.
Is in the same year she has this movie star
Wins the
level up.
Globe.
She has a movie star level up without Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
And then she has this movie that proves like, holy shit, she can act. So she's coming into 96 like about as hot as she could be.
Right. And as you said, at this point, she was most famous for being married to Tom Cruise. They're in 2 movies together,
The second one bombs.
Far and Away.
They're in
and
2 of Tom
Days
Cruise's
of
worst
Thunder.
movies.
Right.
Yeah.
No offense to Days of Thunder is like an okay time, but like it's not that good.
Days
it's
of
like one
Thunder-
of Tony Scott's worst.
Days of
movies.
Thunder is kind of the Portrait of a Lady to Top Gun's Piano.
Right.
Wow,
Yeah.
Where it's like-
brilliant
Yeah. Thank you.
analogy, Griffin.
It's true.
Thank you.
Where
Yeah.
you're right though. Where
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
this, you know, like yeah, like let's
Right.
let's change all the
But
elements.
it's
Oh,
it's
okay, I
essentially
just got it.
right.
It
Yeah.
took
She's
me a little
she's
while
like
to put the
Yeah,
pieces
the
together.
worst follow-up
Right.
that's kind of similar.
Yeah.
she's Australian teen
Mhm.
actor who is discovered by Jane Campion early in her career, wanted her to be in her short film. And then Dead Calm is sort of the thing that gives her the crossover success, the American breakthrough,
Dead
right?
Calm and then Billy Bathgate,
Right.
Malice.
Mal-
Well,
Malice.
yes,
She's
Tom
good in
Cruise
Malice.
notices her. Now she's.
I just
yeah.
want. I mean, maybe we've mentioned BMX Bandits before, but a very Ben movie. I assume he's never seen.
I've never
but
seen it.
Brian
Just,
Trimble
just,
Smith.
just you know, in energy,
Yeah.
BMX
Yeah.
Bandits.
She's got
That's an
maybe
Australian.
the most hair anyone's ever
very
had in that
big,
movie.
red curly.
Also,
you know.
She's
Ben,
got a
I-
bit of a Janet frame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
hair
yes,
situation.
that's true.
Yeah.
Ben, I just want to call out, you have been on Malkovich's clothing website for the last 30 minutes, right? And I want to make it clear, he's been scrolling through it. Like, Ben's
Yeah.
been going through.
Far and away, just like, is that the worst Tom Cruise movie? Like, that is a real stinker.
Kind of
Like,
has.
real-
I just feel like I hear
It's
no one
bloated,
defend any aspect
much
of it.
mocked. Like
The
accents,
accents,
right?
right.
Yeah.
I have not seen Far and Away.
It's
I didn't-
I've heard the accents are bad.
Yeah.
Um,
The score's good, right? I feel like they reuse
but
the
we
score.
need to remember that Tom Cruise is also in Rock of Ages.
Yeah, but okay, Rock of Ages is so awful. Tom Cruise is good in it.
Yeah.
Where he's bad in Far. and
Okay.
Away.
Yeah.
I
Important
mean, Tom
distinctions.
Cruise, I think the worst Tom Cruise movie, you know, you could have shouted like Lions for Lambs, or like there's a couple
Right.
like that are real.
But I think you're right that the worst Tom Cruise movie has to be a movie in which Tom Cruise is bad.
which is rare.
he's my favorite movie star of all time.
We love Tom
We
Cruise.
love Tom Cruise.
Reservedly. I was about to say unreservedly, but you know,
Ben,
reservedly.
Ben, just any quick takes on the fits that Malkovich is throwing?
It's giving me fop.
This guy walks in here and I'm getting fop.
It's a lot of like.
Are there
like brightly
cravats?
patterned
Of
ties.
course,
Cravats.
Right.
Marie. Of course.
You have to filter for cravats. You have
Yeah.
to get them off.
Yeah, exactly.
And his whole thing was like,
Walking in
I couldn't find this stuff anywhere.
You know, Kidman's 90s is sort of an Angelina Jolie-esque thing where it's like, wait,
Yeah.
is this person actually a movie star or just someone that people talk about all
Is
the
she
time?
famous
Like,
for being famous? Is she famous for being
Right.
hot? Is she actually a good
Right.
actor? And she
I-
switched between.
I
and
do think
95
Moulin
is
Rouge-
like her most triumphant year
Yeah,
until
it
the
is.
2000s.
But I do
Yes.
think Moulin Rouge, the beat on her is still like, sure, she's good in To Die For.
Right.
But like, has Nicole Kidman ever really proven that she can launch a movie?
Was she just used well as Gus
and
Van Sant,
to
smart director,
get an Oscar or whatever?
Right.
Well, To Die For is an incredible performance.
It's an incredible performance. It's a good movie.
And it also, when you watch To Die For and Portrait of a Lady back to back, you're like, wow, range.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I'm not saying, I was always fairly pro Kidman. I would say as a young lad. But I would say that she really had a lot of detractors in the 90s.
The celebrity factor
Huge part
worked
of it.
against her.
Both the celebrity and the celebrity couple, like
Right.
both things.
Right.
were
She was
against her.
throwing fits, though. Can we say that?
She absolutely was.
Yeah.
Those
She was gorgeous.
90s paparazzi photos of her, man, she was like serving some shit.
Post this, and this movie obviously doesn't go over.
Peacemaker.
No.
Peacemaker doesn't go over.
Right.
Practical
Magic,
Magic, not an acting movie, but
absolutely fucks so hard.
a beloved
One of
film.
David's favorite films ever.
Huge fan of Practical Magic, and she's really good in it, and she's doing something different in it.
Right.
'Cause she's the bad girl.
Yeah.
But that movie was not a total hit either.
Yeah,
at
it
the
was
time.
like a reasonable double.
Right.
Right.
And then Eyes Wide
Wide
Shut.
Shut is very controversial.
She's amazing in it, but at the time,
it's considered a masterpiece now. At the time, people were more reserved.
And it sucks up like 2 years of her life.
Yes.
And then the 2000s, she just comes so
Explodes.
fucking
But
hot.
it's the 2001 Double Punch.
Right.
of
The
Moulin Rouge and
Others.
the others.
Oof.
Right.
Like 2 original movies, not based on fucking anything.
Well,
Box
that's not
office-
true. Moulin Rouge is kind of based on
Sure.
no, but it's based on Camille.
And it's also kind of based on like
Moulin Rouge is
Toulouse-Lautrec
kind of based on
or-
everything.
but like,
Okay,
but, it's not really like,
We got to do Buzz at some point.
I'm so pro.
I know.
Yeah.
Ugh. What if we like have a rule where we do like one Australian, New Zealand director a year?
Right. Just add to our ridiculous
I know.
series of rules.
And
that- after that-
for fucking Elvis. Yeah,
After
sorry.
that, Kidman is gold, right? Like, obviously,
Right.
she wins the Oscar the next year, but,
But
it's
like
also
that,
that she's the
that
actress
year
who'll do
single-handedly
Dogville.
melts
Like,
her.
Right.
That year single-handedly mints her to a degree where no one's questioning her anymore. And
Never.
it's like
Never
the
again.
fact that The Others makes $100 million released at the doldrums of August, and then the next year,
I'm nodding.
The Hours, it's like, well, I guess she's overdue.
And Denzel Washington said, "By a nose."
By a nose.
Oh God, that was. What do we think about that? Was
Corny.
that kind of mean?
I think it was corny. I don't think it was mean.
Because I remember the conversation at the time being like, "Oh, just another example of a beautiful person making themselves ugly to win an award."
That was absolutely. There's
People
a run
couldn't
of
get
Best
over the
Actress
fucking
winners because Monster is right around
Yeah.
there. Like where people were like, "Oh, do you have to quote unquote
Monsters Ball,
declam
scrubbed
Monsters
off
Ball?"
the
Yeah.
makeup. Right.
But I think she won because one, she has like this killer speech. That's and she's playing a real person, which the
Yeah,
Oscars
I
don't
love
for.
that.
She's overdue.
She's
quote
overdue.
unquote. And and like it's a transformation. So like it was. I mean,
And people were just so into. I mean, this is the other thing we need to talk about when we're
Julianne
talking.
Moore should have won that year.
Yes,
but
absolutely. When we're talking about Kidman hitting the 2000s so hard, the other thing is the Tom Cruise marriage. Like once the divorce
Yeah.
happens,
She wins that.
She immediately is seen in a different light, and he hasn't started torpedoing himself yet. But it's still like, ooh, I like this fucking Nicole on her.
Well,
own.
I didn't give it to Julianne.
You didn't give it to Julianne?
No, I
Who did
gave
you
it to
give it to?
Diane Lane, and
In
I do it again.
Unforgiven.
You would do
Okay.
it
I
again.
do it again. Those weren't for those.
Not
Netflix
what's name?
kids.
Not Unforgiven. Unfaithful.
Unfaithful. It would be wild if I
Yeah.
gave it to a friend. Unforgiven.
Yeah.
What if Diane
A
Lane
movie that
was
she's not in.
the Clint Eastwood?
Wow, this is a good 5. Ooh.
Well,
Well,
give us the David. Now you have
you
to
got to
give us
share the 5.
You gotta
Diane
show
Lane in Unfaithful and Julianne Moore in Far From Heaven are
Uh-huh.
the 2 I've got with the Oscars.
Okay.
Samantha Morton and Morvern Caller. Incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, of
performance.
course. Yeah.
It's about to be released on Blu-ray.
Emily
Fine.
Mortimer in Lovely and Amazing.
Mm.
One of my
Oh,
favorite
great
performances.
movie.
Mhm.
And Natasha McElhone in Solaris, baby. Bam!
Wow.
You didn't see that coming?
David,
No.
David just did like a
Blindsided.
Rock'em Sock'em robot pose.
I did it.
Yeah.
An uppercut.
Wow.
Anyway, great 5.
So Nicole in this movie, as you said, she's very much quivering,
Yes.
trembling.
I mean, the poster
Constantly.
is basically her having a migraine.
she's
Right.
she's also putting herself through physical torture by committing to wearing a very tight corset.
a 19-inch
Yes.
corset. I know
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman is a skinny woman.
to begin
But
with.
that is something you have to work your way towards.
Yeah, right. They had to
get
like
into a
go
corset that
like inch
tight.
by
Yeah.
inch or whatever.
It's wild.
Yes.
I wanted to say something. This is not Kidman related. We'll get right back to Kidman.
Oh
but
no,
I did,
I've said my Kidman piece.
fair enough. Well,
Okay.
we'll
Mm-mm.
Merchant Ivory apparently had been interested in doing Portrait of a Lady.
Makes sense.
And Ismail Merchant, upon hearing the news that Campion would adapt the novel, said, "We have about 6 projects in development. Maybe we'll get around to Portrait of a Lady in 10 years. We don't want to race with anybody. We're proud to have paved the way for other artists to consider E.M. Forster and Henry James. James is a world-class writer, and everyone is interested in a world-class writer." I just love the idea that Merchant is like, yeah, I've got a whole fucking list of masterpieces. I can't do them all.
Well, you remember,
I'll get to Portrait of a Lady.
Ismail Merchant used to do those upfronts like Kevin Feige, where he'd come out with the clicker.
I mean, was that the original MCU?
Yeah.
The, like, Merchant Ivory stable
It's
of
just
performers?
funny to think that like Jane Campion's like, well, I could do a Henry James novel. They're like, I don't know, man. Merchant Ivory, we gotta call them on the phone. I'm scared of those guys. They might be working on something.
I'm just imagining them unveiling like Andy Park concept art of what Christopher Reeve will look like in the
in
period
Maids of the Day
clothing.
or whatever.
Merchant Ivory, Phase 5.
Right, people
Wings
just
over
losing
the
their
top.
fucking mind.
Or like a Dante's Peak volcano thing where Merchant Ivory's like, oh, we got a portrait.
We got a portrait.
Fine. You want to do one? We got one.
You wait till you see our fucking portrait.
Yeah, I'll call Emma Thompson right now. She's available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to get into talking about this actual movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, and we should say, I did light candles because I thought it'd be elegant.
Ben turned off most of the lights and he lit candles. And this isn't a bit.
I
mean,
thought
it's
he'd,
maybe
like,
a bit, but
farted
he
or
did
something.
it.
Like it was 2 candles.
Trying to mask this.
It's not like he lit 80 candles. Just 2 little candles.
It's a little romantic.
It's a little romantic.
A little Victorian.
Yeah.
As everyone now knows, Ben prepared a tea party for us.
He did.
High tea.
Last week we had high tea. So Ben might be going through a phase right now.
A gilded
age phase.
Wait, am I in my gilded era?
You're
gilded
gilded.
age.
You're
Wow.
gilded era.
Yeah.
You're serving gilded.
David.
Yeah, what's up?
David.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking idly.
Yeah. Something popped in your head.
Yeah, about how all these programs are the same.
All these weight loss programs,
Yeah.
you know.
I was just thinking that.
They're
too.
all the
Ben, you're
same.
here.
I'm here. I was just thinking the same thing.
They're all the same. None of them use a psychology-based approach, and they're all the same.
Well, Noom, wait.
What? What?
Uses a psychology-based approach to help people better understand their relationship with their food.
Well, that is quite unlike other programs.
Yeah, because it teaches them how to be more mindful of the way they eat, gives them the skills and knowledge they need to build long-lasting positive habits.
How about
Noom
that?
different.
Noom different.
Noom do hit different though.
Noom do hit different.
It can be
though.
It can be really hard to find ways to feel healthy.
Overwhelming.
There's all
I would
this,
even say, if you wanted me to talk on this, I would say it's overwhelming.
you know, there's all this equipment you can buy. There's all these programs. There's
Sure.
supplements being thrown at you by the wellness industry. It's easy to be overwhelmed by all that information.
It's why I'm afraid to even start my health journey, if I can be quite honest.
Noom Weight's going to take a psychology-based approach that will take a path towards better health one lesson at a time. Helps you change the way you think about food and health rather than demanding you change your entire lifestyle.
David,
okay?
what goals am I already working toward or have already achieved with Noom?
I don't know. You tell
Trying
me.
not to die young.
That's true.
A
You've
thing
been
that
adjusting your
people-
diet.
Often express severe concern about.
Sure.
Listeners, people who never met me, saying, hey, I know this is weird, overstepping parasocial.
Worried about your diet, Griffin Newman.
Yeah.
I assume. I don't know.
Yeah,
What,
you
is that
don't
what they're
seem
saying?
healthy.
Well,
Changes, but that's the point. Noom, because they're psychologically based, can change sort of your mindset in terms of how you shop, how to better understand your cravings or your relationship with food, which for me is, I guess, an abusive relationship. I like food that hurts me.
have you been eating more, healthy?
I've been trying.
I feel like you have.
I've been trying. Look,
Yeah.
look, I got to admit, maybe listeners can relate to this.
Mm.
You try to get in the straight and narrow, and then maybe some elements of society start collapsing again. And then you're like, just give me the hit, give me the hit.
Yeah.
But then when numbers start to level off, the surge start to goes down, you go like, maybe let me try to take care of the old machine again.
Yeah. Look, Noom taking care of your health is empowering instead of stress inducing.
Sure.
There's no need to fear ruining the whole program with an off day.
No need to
Just
fear.
saying. Noom's going to help you get back on track. You decide how it fits into your life, not the other way around. So 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, however much time you want to spend on the app is up to you. Start building better habits today. Sign up for your trial at noom.com/check.
Check.
That's noom.com/check to sign up for your free trial. It's noom.com/check. Yes, this is a 600-page novel.
Jeez.
Yes.
It is very interior,
Mhm.
Yes.
like many a Henry James novel. It is very focused on it's character psychology.
Yes.
Mhm.
It is not screaming out for adaptation.
No.
It famously has a non-ending,
Right.
which is also not screaming out for adaptation.
Right.
It doesn't really send you out the door
No.
cheering.
Nope.
And, Jane right away takes a big swing by opening this movie with a sequence that takes place in contemporary times.
Yes.
It's shot in black and white and
Yes.
has young women talking about their own sexual desire.
Oh, overheard snippets, really. It's not like you're even
Right.
seeing the people talking. You're just kind of seeing people, moving around and stuff.
I kept waiting for them to show up in the movie.
They storm in.
I mean, this honestly could be the sort of thing where you're in the theater and you're like, is this the right
wrong
movie?
They
Am
don't
I in the
walk
wrong
into the
theater?
theater.
It feels
Absolutely.
like a 90s MTV
Mhm.
era
Yes.
Kotex commercial.
Teens speak.
Right?
Teens
Yeah.
talk.
Right.
I mean,
Teens
in the notes I took, I
what
wrote
makes me a woman?
chokers,
Like it's one of the right.
piercings, thin eyebrows.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're really situating ourselves
Yeah.
in the mid 90s with the style of these women. And what she's obviously trying to do by beginning the film with this sequence is she's trying to place the character of Isabel Archer and the situations she's facing squarely in our modern consciousness.
Sure.
She is connecting that story to what
today.
women,
To contemporary times.
because what I think, if we talk about like what her take is on the material, I think that she is focusing on Isabel's passions and sexual desires, and how that motivates her decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And she's bringing to the forefront of her adaptation things that are hinted at. Right.
Right.
Obviously it's more sexually explicit. Not that it's a vastly explicit film, but like
I don't think we see any boobies in this.
well, you do see Nicole's naked figure in one of the sort of, Jean
That's sort of-
Vigo-esque sequences.
Right.
That's it,
right.
yes.
You do see boobies.
But
there.
it's not like there's a you do see boobies.
You do see boobies. We don't see any dong.
No.
Fucking huge
unfortunately.
oversight. And
Yeah.
Malkovich will take it out. He took it out in one of those
I
fucking
know.
boring
I
ass
mean-
movies he made in the 80s.
But Secretariat?
I mean, this is a movie.
That wasn't Malkovich. right?
He walks up to the horse. You think that's big?
It's no, he took it out and fuck. Is it called The Sheltering Sky?
Yeah,
is
is
it
the Bertolucci one?
movie?
Yeah, it's
I
Sheltering Sky.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a movie that famously includes a foursome that does not feature nudity.
Sure. A sort of yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I will say this is like a little bit of an issue for me where it's just like I was excited by a lot of the choices she's making the first 45 minutes of the
Mhm.
movie. I think a lot of the most interesting sort of
So you like the kind of phantom, the men like dissolving,
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
You like the weird Jean Vigo
Yes.
montage
And this opening and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, she's really throwing some interesting
Yes.
sort of like formalist exercises.
We're finding
into-
out the house is not damp, right? Like that was the thing. Like right away, I'm like, okay, interesting. Lord
She-
Farquhar. or
She
whatever your
also
ass's
she
name
loves a
is.
moat.
Definitely
we
wasn't
talk
Lord
about
Farquhar.
moats.
Yes. I just think like,
Oh, I love a moat. Do you guys?
I
like
adore
moats?
a moat.
Ben, why even waste the breath to tell us that?
Well, I know, but I want
we
to
know
get your
you
moat
love
take.
moats. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
They seem
Right?
good. Do they move?
What do you mean?
I don't want like standing water around.
No,
That's
my
why you
castle.
no, it's
Gators,
stand, it's
David.
standing
You gotta get the
water, I think.
gators.
The gators stir it.
They That's why they call gators nature's spoon.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I feel like you're gonna get a lot of skeeters in the summer at your moat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have not read the book, but that foursome sequence, I'm like, this is a really interesting way to dramatize internal sort of battles within a person, And I wanted more of that experimentation, which there's a lot of at the beginning, and you're sort of like, wow, this is not what I expected out of this movie. And then I do think it falls a little more into, although with Jane Campion energy, the sort of more traditional staid
Well,
period.
I
film.
think
Yeah.
I think she's making well just to kind of quickly go over the plot. Isabel Archer is a woman in the Victorian era,
late
Victorian era, the Gilded Age.
We're not quite. Well, yeah, sure.
Because
yeah,
of James
it's
Gilded
like the
Age.
1880s.
Yeah, her Ben years.
Yeah.
Yes. But she,
I guess it. Yeah.
She does not want to marry because she doesn't want to compromise her freedom. And
her friends are trying to marry her off.
Yes,
they're throwing boys at her.
She's got a lot of suitors.
Yeah, well, come on.
Which is we'll get into that.
But she also knows that she there's life she wants to live.
Yes.
That's the thing she keeps on, like, I need to live more. I need more experience. There are things I want to.
And the first half of the movie, we see her being offered these proposals of marriage by different suitors who the viewer would think are perfectly acceptable.
Richard E. Grant.
Viggo Mortensen,
looking
almost
nice.
the hottest he's ever looked.
Very snackable.
His name is Casper Goodwood.
Pause here for a second. He is so pretty in this movie.
Very
it's
beautiful.
Not that he's hot, but they're like, he's so delicate in this. And to think this is like 10 years after Witness, it's not like this is the youngest he's ever been on screen. He's already worked a lot at this point.
Yeah.
Sure. He's 3 years away from filming Lord of the Rings. And when he shows up in that movie, you're like, this guy's been through some shit.
Yeah.
Was he like just hanging out with Jane Campion? I was like, I like these Kiwis. I want to go.
Maybe.
Hang out with them.
He's a guy.
He's a very soulful actor. Is sort of his reputation, especially back then.
I've said this before, but I just always forget that he's American.
He's not American.
Well, he's kind of American, isn't he? He's like has Danish parents, but he's
right. He was raised in America.
He was not raised exclusively in America. Raised all over. He is Danish, obviously by birth.
Sure.
I don't know. He's quasi-American.
Okay.
I would say
kind of like you.
No, I'm like more American.
Marie, what do you?
What's going on? What are you
David,
about?
I mean, David seems kind of European.
What you sense like a little touch of the Spaniard in him? What are you?
Maybe German.
They lived.
I've noticed he
Venice?
does raise a pinky from time to time.
At the high tea. Were you fucking spying on me while we were drinking high tea?
He's got a touch of the Ben. He does have a touch.
Touch gilded. Venezuela, Denmark. They lived in Argentina for a long time. He speaks
didn't he make
Spanish.
was it Jauja? What is that movie he made? That's like Argentinian.
I don't know.
It's like Jauja.
I'm looking that up.
Do you guys remember this from a couple years ago?
No.
Yeah, Jauja.
Jauja.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a 2014 film.
And he's one of those guys where
that's where he like gets into horses because he's like
he
knows how to ride a horse.
Hildago.
Then they go to New York when the parents divorce when he's a teenager. And then he moves back to Spain and then Denmark. I don't know. He's been all over.
He's a very sexy, worldly man.
And then, I feel like everyone is always talking about how he's like writing poetry and taking photographs and all that, right? Like he's one of those.
He's
types.
a real artist. He doesn't play the Hollywood game.
It's why it's so funny that then he finally was like, I got one more performance to give. Pizza! That was in him all along.
I still can't believe that's him in that movie.
It's so weird.
I forget. It's like blocked out.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It is weird of them to cast him, right? Yeah. It is weird that he did it well, and it is weird that he got an Oscar nomination for him.
All
for
true.
Whatever I think of that movie, I'm like,
and
he did what they asked of him.
He's back to Cronenberg, right? It's not like he like went off Green Book and was like, let me be in a Marvel movie. Like I'm hot again.
There's always that thing with him where it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll never make a movie.
He doesn't make a lot of movies.
Right.
Captain Fantastic 2014 or 16, Green Book 2018, and then that film he directed. Those are like his only movies of late.
Green Book just did not seem like the kind of movie he would ever watch.
How did they get him? What's the connection
Green Book
there?
To his house. I genuinely.
The only
you know how like some people like secretly have worked with the Farrellys before, and I always forget, and I'm like, oh wow, I forgot.
All I know is that he was like the first person attached to that movie. Like he was the star.
This is the other thing is like as the Green Book Oscar season kept going on, Mahershala would sometimes like seem a little embarrassed by the movie, and Viggo would double down. Like Viggo was so fucking proud of that movie. The only thing I know is that, like, I guess the Moonlight Captain Fantastic Oscar season was the same year. And they hit it off. So there was something of, like, they'd like to work together.
Right. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't fucking know either of the men.
He like gained like 50 pounds for that movie.
So-
Like he's crazy.
He wanted to be in Green Book so badly, and then stood by it and was like, "Look at this fucking
It won
thing."
Best Picture.
Yeah, he got nothing for best actor.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Anyway.
he is in this film. He's very pretty.
Yes.
John Gielgud, is sort of a suitor, I guess.
Well, Gielgud's not a suitor.
No.
His son is though.
Yes.
Martin Donovan.
Played by Martin
Hap.
Donovan.
His
and
actual character's name is Ralph.
Touch-It.
Ralph Touch-It.
Ra-
Goodwood.
Goodwood, Touch-It. This movie should be hornier. Is my
it
one
sounds
of my
like
takes.
a fucking
But
Bart
the
Simpson prank
horniness
call.
is
Ralph Touch It.
imprisoned, you know.
yeah, but it would.
Martin Donovan is the person that she clearly has the strongest emotional connection
But
to.
he also is
Is-
her cousin, and he's dying.
He's got-
What's up with the cousin stuff?
Well, you know, a
Yeah.
lot of cousins back then.
No.
Well, you know, sometimes people would marry their cousins, right? Like, because everyone's freaking cousins in the.
When I watch
upper
movies like
class
this, I'm like,
society.
where were we on Cousins at this point in time? Because I
Right.
know we've slipped around.
I
back
think
and
we were
forth.
cool with cousins until like the 50s.
Yeah, that's
Damn,
basically
wow.
cousin.
Yeah.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're saying just cousins
Cousin-
were
yeah.
cool.
It's like,
really up until
you know, if you're
recently.
looking for people, if you're always marrying off your
Yeah.
kids within aristocracy, and then you're looking for your kids to marry an aristocrat, like it's all gonna kind
Well, yeah, like all the
intermingle,
fucking
right?
royal families are.
Yeah, it's
they're
all incestuous.
You know,
Super
Edward
incestuous.
VII, the grandfather of Europe, because he had
But
like
then
a bunch
often-
of kids, and they all, you know,
Yeah.
got moved around Europe. You know, but she doesn't want to marry anybody.
And her reason for not wanting to marry anyone isn't that she's not attracted to them, because as we see by this foursome sequence, she is very horny for these men.
She's dreaming of them going.
She's
to
dreaming of
town
them.
on her
It's
like
not
she's
like she's a
sizzler.
cold fish.
No,
Open buffet.
but she
Yeah.
knows that at this point in history, as a woman, once you are married, you sacrifice your independence.
Right. Yeah.
And she does not want to do that.
And Ralph actually persuades his dad, right?
Yes.
His
John
dad is-
Gielgud.
his dad, John Gielgud, is his dad and her uncle.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's like, actually give her money so she can like live the life she wants.
Right.
Leaves
He-
her the fortune.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she doesn't
and he's
have to
dying
marry.
of fucking consumption or whatever.
Right.
So he doesn't.
So the first part of the movie is her navigating these suitors, and then she goes to Florence, right?
Yes.
Oh, no. Rewind, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the scene where she's introduced to Barbara Hershey,
Right. She meets
which happens in England.
Madame Serena.
Madame Merle.
Right.
Madame Serena Merle.
Yeah.
And I really loved this sequence. We see Nicole walk into a room and we hear this really intense piano playing. We don't see who's playing the piano, but Nicole is like captivated. And so the audience is captivated. Like, who is playing the piano? And this is also coming after a time where we are in the film where we are thinking about all of her suitors. So I'm thinking it's going to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out it's this woman.
This ostensibly liberated woman.
Yes.
Beyond. Like, right. Like, it's like she sort of seems to be doing her own
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
And so I'm like, yes, who is this bitch? I love her. Which I guess is kind of what Isabel's thinking. And she's very interested in this woman. And they go to Florence together, and we find out that Barbara Hershey, aka Madame Merle, has ulterior motives.
She wants to set her up with Gilbert Osmond.
Yes,
she's-
John
She's
Malkovich.
a little bit of a Ghislaine Maxwell.
I was about to say she is the
I mean,
Ghislaine
Right? It's this
Maxwell.
thing of like, look at this
Obviously.
woman. Look at how confident she is. What's her
Isabel
secret?
is
And it's
of
like,
age, but yes.
Look, I'm not saying the conditions are identical.
No, but it's true.
But the
She's
pipeline of like, you hear all the
Uh-huh.
stories of these young women. Ghislaine would come to them and she'd be like, "You're so glamorous. You could come into society. You'd be such a big
Yeah.
hit." And it's like, no one ever thought that of me. And then you get in there and then you're sort of pawned off to some other person. And you're like, what's your relationship to that?
they are
person?
exes, of course.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the ultimate revelation. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We know that there's some sort of sexual tension
Mm-hmm.
between John
Gilbert
Malkovich and Barbara Hershey. Because
Brother and sister, right?
no,
They're not brother and sister.
No, they are
no.
exes.
Oh, okay, interesting. I don't know why I thought that was going on.
Sure.
Well, I think
His sister is Shelley Duvall in the
Right.
movie.
You know
Oh,
Shelley Duvall from
really?
The Shining?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No.
They don't look anything alike. No, sorry. Go.
But and I feel like Campion is very intent on showing a less glamorous Italy. She does
Yes.
not want it to be this transporting
Yes.
thing where you arrive in fashionable Italy.
So the first part of the movie,
Campion went to Italy when
Right,
she
and
was
she was
21.
miserable.
She was like,
Right.
this place sucks.
Yeah.
and then the first part of the
Italy's
movie
nice, in my
is,
opinion.
as Griffin said, like you have all of these interesting artistic touches, and then the movie becomes absolutely fucking miserable.
Yes.
Once our character becomes miserable.
Look, it is by design, but it becomes pretty oppressive.
Yes.
It's quite oppressive
part
and
of
not
it-
short.
No,
No.
that's the other thing. It's the cycle of just like, this isn't ending, this isn't ending. This very quiet man saying like, look at my stuff, look at my beautiful belongings. Don't ever leave me.
He has a daughter who is like not allowed to leave the house.
Pansy.
Pansy, played
Um,
by Valentina Cervi. Don't really know her other than this.
An Italian actress.
Yeah. It would
She's
make sense
Italian?
that she'd have an Italian accent, having
Yeah.
been raised in Florence.
Mhm.
But yes, Isabel accepts the offer of marriage from Osmond, and we are led to believe that she accepts his marriage proposal as opposed to everyone else's, because it's kind of like Madame Merle made him seem
Cool.
cool.
I think the idea, I guess, in theory, is like he will allow her to live her. He's
He's
libertine.
bohemian.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And then the second they get married, he's like, no, welcome to Bummerville. Close the doors. Like,
Yeah.
Stuart Driver shot this movie.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Obviously, we talked about him on the piano. I'm just going to read this quote from Jane Campion. We made two major decisions. One, make our interior shots in Italy as dark as possible. Two, have exterior shots almost overexposed to get those big contrasts.
Mhm.
I wanted to avoid the glamour and the intimate scenes, be as close as possible to bodies. That's all very interesting,
Mhm.
but it certainly does make the film tough to watch in
Dreary.
a way,
Yes.
oppressive,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and not what you would expect from a costume drama.
She
right?
also-
You know, like
Yes,
it's sort of
yes.
not giving you maybe
Yes.
the sort of meat and potatoes.
We're not getting
Yeah.
the sweeping vistas that we get from some other period
No,
films.
it's that bleached out thing where the skies are like white.
Yes.
And I will defend Malkovich's performance in this, but you're essentially asking him to be the motor of the movie for like the better part of 90 minutes.
Sure.
And
But he's also like an obstruction. Right.
right, and he's a bottleneck, and he's a very quiet, simmering bottleneck that never pops in that sort of way. Yeah.
Yeah, he is malevolent, but
Uh-huh.
it's not like Dangerous Liaisons or whatever where he's kind of fun malevolent.
No,
Right.
he's not fun at all.
He's not-
he's a fucking bummer. This
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
he
and so
really-
much of the movie is
he
people
sucks.
being like, leave him.
Yeah.
Get
There-
out of here.
There's a point in the film where it's like all of Isabel's old friends who have been kind
Pop
of
back
cut
up.
off
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
are all like sitting together talking about like she's in a terrible situation. What can we do? And I thought they were gonna like team up to rescue her, but that
that
does not
was
happen.
planned for Portrait 2,
Yeah.
obviously, which never
Yeah.
really-
Can we talk about Mary Louise Parker playing like Zooey Deschanel in Failure to Launch?
She's got little glasses.
The little
Yeah, little
glasses
hat.
are so good.
Yeah.
This is early Mary Louise Parker, right? I mean, I feel like she's still pretty.
Well,
she
new
did-
on this.
she
been
did
Fried
Boys on the
Tomatoes,
Side.
Boys on the
Right.
Side.
What is it? How to Make an American Quilt? Is that what that thing's called? Or what?
I
She's
mean,
in
that
one of
is
those.
a movie, but it's
No,
she's
what's
not
the
in
other?
it.
There's another one she's in that's like a generational. There's
Well,
like
Grand Canyon.
Is it-
Well, it's fried green
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 tomatoes.
no, but
tomatoes.
there's. I'm saying I think there's. Yet
How to Make
another
an
one.
American Quilt is another movie.
I know. I'm gonna figure out what the
Bullets
fuck I'm
Over
thinking of.
Broadway, obviously.
And then
she's,
she's in How I Learned to Drive off Broadway the following year, which is like a
Her-
big.
her-
She's on that
thing
show
for her.
Weeds.
Yeah, that's
she was
later,
on
but-
that show Weeds. Thank you, Ben.
So a thing I wanted to talk about, if you're talking about intentionally shooting interiors and having them be very, very dark, and
Yes.
Mhm.
Campion makes some kind of shockingly heavy-handed choices to illustrate the interiority of the characters.
Like the canted ankles.
Well, it's not even the canted angles, like literally like the scene where it's Kidman and Malkovich, and it's kind of like their big scene together before she goes on her little boat trip.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally in the catacombs. Like they are
yes.
they are
yes.
surrounded by like skeletons.
Yes.
And so you're getting that like, ooh, bad omens.
Right.
There's a scene later where she is talking to, I think she's talking to her cousin, Ralph. And she says, you know, and at this point she's married. And she says, if I like my cage, that needn't trouble you, referring to marriage as her cage.
Sure.
They're literally in horse stables and she's framed in front of a
Behind
bunch of bars.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I don't know.
I agree. This movie is. I don't know how you guys. I mean, I know Griffin was perplexed, I would say, by the film. That's my read of your reaction, or
not perplexed.
maybe not perplexed.
I was I wasn't looking forward to this one. This is not my type of movie, I would say. I was sort of invigorated by the first 45 minutes, and then it sort of settled into the thing I sort of was expecting it to be, which is just maybe not my cup of tea. But it's also I've been really enjoying the fucking movies we've been watching. The last three were so
This is my least favorite Campion. I guess it might be, and I still like it.
Two Friends.
I said, well, I'm not counting.
Okay, if you're not counting that, then it probably has the worst film. But good filmography.
But Murray, what do you think? I've seen this film 3 times. I told Griffin that, and he was astonished. It is over like the course of many years, but
yeah.
still.
Also, I mean, there are weirder movies I've watched more times than that. Who am I to judge?
I've seen it twice. I watched it this week, and the first time I saw it, a movie theater in New York, the Quad was doing a Henry James adaptation series, and I went with a bunch of girlfriends to watch this, and none of us had seen it before, and we had high expectations for it.
Yeah,
like we thought it was going to be a
feels
hidden
like
gem.
a buried,
That's
buried
the thing.
gem.
That's the thing. You want this to be a buried
You're like,
gem.
fuck, Kidman, Campion, this is a Henry. How was this not?
And
like,
people
it
didn't like it.
weird.
It must be great.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And also, I had just watched In the Cut for the first time. I think a year before I saw Portrait of a Lady.
Certainly derided.
And that is a movie I had grown up hearing ruined careers and was legendarily terrible, and watched it. Loved it. It's probably my favorite Campion.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, this one's also going to be really good. And it is not that good.
Yeah.
I think there are interesting things to talk about with this movie. Like, it's not a total, I hope this isn't like a bummer of an episode.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm just saying, I really love Campion. I do think this is not entirely successful beyond the fact that she's setting herself this challenge of adapting a difficult novel. And
and there's a thing another take I have is we talked about this off mic before, is especially comparing this to a movie like The Age of Innocence, which is like low-key my favorite Scorsese film.
Great movie.
Great film. I love the narration in The Age of Innocence.
Yes.
So do I.
I think this film would have benefited from narration, and I think that she did not include it because her last film was very narration heavy, because her character did not
mute
talk.
character.
Her last 3 movies have narration
Table.
to some degree, like Sweetie, Angel at My Table, and Piano. Yes.
So I think she set a challenge for herself.
Yeah.
That ultimately
cut your nose to spite your face. Yeah.
I think that's true. I also think, as much as she's like, well, I love the book, and I was just wanting, the way she talks about approaching the adaptation, it does seem like they hit a bunch of roadblocks. They tried a lot of ways to figure out how to put the first third of the book into the movie and realize it's got to go.
She doesn't have a screenplay credit on this.
No, it's credited to Laura Jones,
a regular collaborator.
Correct.
Who wrote Angel at My Table with her. Also, did you notice a certain name popping up in the producer credits of this film, David?
Monty Montgomery, the cowboy himself. We know about Monty Montgomery?
No, who's Monty Montgomery?
Well, Monty Montgomery, of course, is the man who shot the coward Robert Ford. No, he's not.
We did 10 minutes on his fucking photo.
His IMDb picture looks like it was taken at Deadwood.
Yeah.
No,
he was Catherine Bigelow's early collaborator.
And he is credited as the director of The Loveless, her first movie, a co-director, and he is the cowboy in Mulholland Drive.
A kind of
fascinating if you do
figure.
good.
Yeah.
And you're going to see him 2 times if you do bad.
I believe in that documentary he is the one who's
having that conversation with Shelley Winter. Okay, I was one because it wasn't her other producer is Jan Chapman, who is a woman.
I believe that's Monty Montgomery, who's this odd Zelig figure of the last
very interesting
30 years, 40 years of film. Yeah.
I love him.
Love him. Wow.
One of my favorite performances. It's one of my favorite scenes in a movie ever.
And another thing that I think was difficult for her in approaching this is I think that she is too close to the source material.
Right.
Yes.
Like, these are some quotes that I wrote down from that making of doc. Isabel fantasizes about men like Osmond, and so do I. She's desperate to be loved, and to be loved by someone as difficult him might give her, in some strange way, a sense of satisfaction.
Mhm.
That's the approach she's taking to the story and the character. I don't know if it is telegraphed as strongly as it could have been, because you have people like Ebert at the time complaining about Malkovich and just like not getting why she would go for Malkovich.
Yes. Yeah.
Sun-dried tomato.
Yeah.
He's a real sun-dried tomato.
But it is that thing, you watch him in this and you're like, this is the most compelling person in the world. Like, even if I'm bored in this movie, I'm just kind of fascinated by his
Which is always true of
existence.
him. Even
Right.
when he's in
Well,
some
yeah.
junky film, you are kind of like, whoa, Malkovich.
And
Like,
she is setting it up to be a sexual sadomasochistic thing.
You know what's another thing I'll say?
but they kind of
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
that works for Malkovich. Malkovich is, maybe aside from Mary Louise Parker, who is of course her best friend in the movie, is giving like the most modern performance.
sure,
You know, he does,
which is alluring in first, right?
in and of
that's part
itself.
yeah,
It's just like, what's this guy's secret? He's existing on a different wavelength than everyone else. We haven't even talked about the whole Christian Bale subplot.
Oh yeah.
This funny thing
Baby
of Christian
Bale.
Bale in the 90s being like in this forever like fucking Laurie and Little Women mode.
That's why. I mean, that
I
movie's
know.
only 2 years before this movie, right? Like,
But
he's,
that
yeah.
was Christian Bale, of course, the young suitor who plays the gentleman who tried to woo the young women.
American Psycho, like
Yeah.
he plays like chubby cheeked cuties. I think like Velvet Goldmine, he is such a cutie in, like,
Yeah.
and everyone else is kind of like aggro and
Yeah.
glam and cool, right? And like, fucking everyone forgets A Midsummer Night's Dream, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's one of the young lovers in that one. Like,
Yes, he was just in this zone, and then like I remember my parents, I guess, having friends.
And honestly, it's post American Psycho, but Captain Corelli's mandolin, he also plays that role.
weird.
Yeah. And kind of the new world, he kind of plays that role too.
Which I think he's great.
Great
in that.
in
It's right.
That's later, obviously.
And then he weirdly plays a different voice role in the animated
And
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. Yeah.
Right.
Thomas.
Yes. What I was gonna say, I just remember my like friends, parents, friends, or some other adults my friends were having over for fucking dinner or whatever. They were like talking about what movies they had seen, and I was listening
At the
to them
door.
talk about movies I wish I could go see.
You were listening at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. Top of the stairs apartment. But my parents' friends were saying that they had seen American Psycho and they liked it. And I just remember her saying, because I had like I guess Christian Bale, I was reading Entertainment Weekly. It was like, here's a guy I've never seen in any movies, but I understand is a movie star. He's talked about, right?
Mhm.
And she said, like, I was really impressed with him in that. It was the first time, like, I always think of him as being very soft.
Sure.
And this is the first thing I've seen him in where he actually feels like an adult.
Yeah.
And you're like, he doesn't get to really be an adult until
Until to the 2000s.
yeah.
And he does it by playing these really that and Shaft in the same year. Like, he's
Right,
suddenly
but
like,
that's the thing.
I want to
like,
take on
the
scary
second
roles.
that switch is flipped, it's like Christian Bale, one of the most intense actors of his generation. He does these very, very like big swing performances. He goes really hard. He goes really deep. It's just funny that he spent like a decade after obviously being a child star.
He was a child star.
Right.
He
We
goes
talk
from
about
child
this-
star to like soft romantic boy.
We talk about this narrative a lot with women
yes.
who are teen stars, and then
Yes.
they have to do the movie where they're nude,
Yes.
Right.
or that they're
The
sexy
classic-
yeah,
in
classic
order to become
swerve.
Right.
adult.
Yeah.
And,
And
he's
it's
a
like
male
to-
example
And
of
to
that.
throw Disney off the center. So you can't
Right.
cast me anymore. I was
Right.
naked in a movie.
Right, I'm
for
done.
crying out loud.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and his presence in Portrait of a Lady is funny because if we talk about
It's a small role.
if we talk about Little Women, the 1994 Little Women as a movie that I as a child like did not get
Mhm.
because I didn't understand why Joe didn't marry Laurie.
Of course.
And
the
went
ultimate
with
question. of
Gabriel
the
Byrne.
world.
I was
Right.
like, why is she
Yeah.
with this old man and not the cutest boy I've ever
That's
seen?
right. He was so cute.
He's
back
cute.
in
He
the-
was so cute.
Yeah.
And as now that I'm an adult,
That's why
I
Timothy is actually
understand that the
better cast.
she's escaping her home. It's not so much about Laurie himself being cute,
But
but
Christian Bale in that age range is such a dream boy for like a child. You know, like
Yeah.
if you were under the age of 15 watching that movie, you're like perfect guy, I feel like.
Sure.
yeah,
he's
for
very-
sure. I mean,
yeah.
he's
very
he's a precursor to Chalamet,
Right.
which is why
I
I mean
think
Chalamet is perfectly cast.
Yeah.
Chalamet is so perfectly cast because
Yeah.
he feels like a child. Like
Yeah.
that's why you get the joke.
Yeah. And now that I'm we've been watching Portrait of a Lady now in my 30s, I'm like, oh, Bale looks young. He looks like I wrote down in my notes, baby Bale.
Baby.
So he does look young in Little Women. I just didn't get it when I was a child. Young.
To be clear, in this movie, he plays the sort of suitor of Pansy.
Yes, Malkovich's daughter.
The Marius.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right.
It's
exactly.
The boy in Sweeney Todd. It's like here's the kept woman in the tower, and I'm the sweet boy who's going to try to use love to overcome.
The plot at this point in the movie is now Isabel is trying to help her stepdaughter make a match in marriage.
Right. Well, she sort of gets reinvigorated.
She knows she loves Bale.
And she like feels the energy of like, oh, this is actual romance.
And Malkovich is trying to set her up with Richard E. Grant because he wants the money, I guess.
Right.
You know, like he just wants this.
But Richard E. Grant still has feelings for Nicole Kidman. Sure. So Nicole's like, I don't want to
Pansy
I don't want to put her in that position.
Right.
She can tell that Christian Bale really loves Pansy and Pansy loves Christian Bale.
I love that her name is Pansy.
Well, there's a Malkovich. What ends up happening is, in like a cruel twist, Malkovich sends his daughter to a convent to become a Benedetta. And he says, for his rationale for that decision, one's daughter should be fresh and fair. Pansy is a little dusty. A little
She's also revealed to me. She is the daughter of his union with Barbara Hurt. Like that is the sort of the dark secret.
That is the surprising twist. And then we realize that Barbara Hershey is this tragic villain.
Yeah.
Where she did the reason why she kind of encouraged the union of Nicole Kidman and John Malkovich was because she wanted her illegitimate daughter to be set financially.
Yes.
And she's made, you know, he's the devil. Like she cannot get what she wants. You know, like she fails. And Hershey plays all those later scenes so well.
Mm-hmm. And if you keep talking about this making of doc, did you get to the point where they're filming her final scene in the rain?
No.
And Barbara Hershey is like miserable because she has to do this take so many times where she's standing in the freezing rain having this emotional moment.
Fucking costumes, I'm sure. Yeah.
And is the thing everyone talks about is just like an absurd number of takes on every scene of this movie. And Campion seems to be a very gentle director when it comes to actors, but it's really like probing of just like, let's find something, let's go deeper, like never satisfied.
And Hershey's upset because a lot of the crew are laughing and having a good time. And she's like, I'm miserable.
Right.
And I guess my character is supposed to be miserable in this moment. And so I should channel that. But I really just feel disrespected.
David? Yeah. Pretty deep into the episode at this point.
Sure. Talking portrait.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, you can. It's okay. I'm an open book.
And I know, I mean, we're in mixed company here, but it's Ben, it's Marie. We're all close friends, coworkers.
Yeah.
David, God, how do I even say this? You promise you're not going to get mad?
Just ask. It's fine.
Do you know why free trials renew without your consent?
I can't believe you've done this.
Do you?
No.
I'm not trying to make you look like a fool. I'm genuinely asking out of concern. Can I tell you? Do you want to know?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to big dog you. I do know the answer.
Go on. Might as well spit it out.
It's a business scam. Are
they out to get me?
They're out to get you.
All right.
Much like the Guns N' Roses song, they're out to get you. And I'm telling you as a friend that you should not let greedy corporations pocket your money.
What if No, you don't think so?
No, I don't think you should. And in fact,
all my money?
In defense of that, to prevent it from happening, I would recommend downloading Truebill to take control of your subscriptions.
I know Truebill. That's the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, you don't want, or you simply forgot about.
On average people save. No, let's say it in unison. On average,
people save up to $720 a year with
Truebill. Wow.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of money because
that's a lot of money.
Sometimes these companies make subscriptions hard to cancel. Truebill makes it really simple.
Yeah.
You link your accounts. Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap.
Absolutely. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. And it's nice to have a concierge.
I totally agree with that. Truebill is really, really simple. It has over 2 million users. It's helped them save over $100 million. Matthew B. He says, in a matter of seconds, I saved $660 for the year on my DirecTV bill, $120 for the year on my SiriusXM bill, $840 a year on car insurance.
The great Matthew B. And the great Becca L says, hands down, all caps, the best financial app I discovered. In my first week, I opened up $187 in unused recurring subscriptions. I'm obsessed. She's literally obsessed, David.
Yep.
I never want to manage finances without Truebill again. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Absolutely. Look, don't fall for subscriptions.
Don't do it. Don't
Start canceling today at truebill.com/check. Go right now. Truebill.com/check. It could save you thousands a year. Truebill.com/check.
Sidebar, a wild thing, because I was sort of doing my little Hershey deep dive. When she shows up in Beaches, it was like very publicized that she had gotten lip fillers.
Yes.
And like every fucking review called it out, where it's like, I don't even know if Barbara Hershey's good in this movie because I was too distracted by the fucking Goodyear tires on her mouth.
That was how I knew what her deal was. Like, that was what I knew about her as a child, was that she had plastic surgery.
Right. And it was just like, this incredibly vain woman who's getting this distracting facial surgery. And you look at her in that movie and you're like, she looks normal. Have our standards just gone so wildly out of whack?
I mean, remember we used to talk about like Jennifer Lopez's butt as being the biggest thing we've ever seen.
Yes.
And if you look at her butt now, it's a great butt, but we've now seen bigger.
Yes.
We have. There have been...
The goalpost has moved.
The overturned butt window
Right. The goalpost moves, but also just like the nature with which we talk about these things. I mean, look, the irony of it is like, I feel like we're coming up against this now in like people trying to talk about being the Ricardos. That is a performance where you want to sort of dig into the effects of perhaps surgeries on how the effectiveness of that role. But I even feel like there is like an over delicacy and even like touching it versus this Barbara Hershey thing where it's like she had one procedure and people were like, well, she's not even acting anymore. She's just got a fucking hot air balloon under her nose.
Barbara Hershey in this film. It's just funny that you compared her to Ghislaine. That's what you say. I don't know. The Scary of 61st. Ghislaine, whatever. Because she, in an interview with Charlie Rose, another famously normal person, compared this character to Kato Kaelin.
This is a funny bit of the dossier.
This is, in this way of like, she's sort of like a consummate actress,
right?
In that she's like ingratiated herself in society. Yeah. She plays the piano, all this, like this. That's how she kind of holds on. And then Charlie Rose, of course, is like, "Are you interested in the Simpson business?" Which is hilarious.
Yeah,
way to put it. And Hershey's like, "I am." We were shooting Portrait when the verdict came in on O.J. Simpson. It was 10 o'clock at night. And I said to Jane, the verdict was coming in. And she said, O.J. Johnson. And Hershey was like, I love that she just didn't even really know about it. Very European of her to be like, oh, yeah, no, I've heard a little about it. O.J. Johnson, is he in trouble? Anyway. And Campion says, Madame Burrell, her favorite character, one of the great characters in literature. Henry James says the great characters of literature are great because they understand their own tragedy. And that's how she feels about this character, right? Like she's repulsed by what she has to do.
Yeah.
But it's too late. Like she's already engaged in like, I have to save my daughter. This is the only way to do it. It is a good conflict.
There also is I think the film is really strong when it's about exploring the relationship between these two women and the choices that they've had to make and how this one horrible man is kind of involved.
Yeah.
I think the movie kind of suffers for a big stretch in the middle when Barbara Hershey is not present.
I agree with that. It's just incredibly frustrating to watch Malkovich wreak havoc on this movie, even though it is somewhat dramatically interesting and the character is interesting and there's not a lot of movies like this, but it's just, I'm sorry, I do want, some fulfillment, and it's really hard. Like I can't deny it.
I don't want to be this guy, but this movie is so fucking long.
It is quite long.
It gets very repetitive, and it gets repetitive in a stretch that
it could
is
probably
incredibly frustrating.
And I hate
and
that
dramatically repetitive.
I find that note kind of the last 15 minutes, but yes,
this is a movie where you're like, you could have lost 45 minutes.
It is interesting, and in a theater, I've never seen it in a theater. I wonder how it goes over in a theater, being stuck with it.
We all were disappointed in it.
Yeah.
My girlfriends and I.
But then there are those bits that you're like, holy shit, that's so interesting. There are. And yeah, I mean, Kidman, there's a lot in the dossier about how Campion made her audition constant. It was not easy. This was not oh yeah.
Well, Campion said she regretted approaching Nicole about this project until To Die For came out, because she wasn't sure she could handle the material.
I think partly because Kidman had this half decade in Hollywood of not really being used that way. Right.
Yeah.
But Kidman heard Campion's making Portrait of a Lady. I want to be in that. Right.
Yeah.
And obviously they had that early interaction.
Right.
She said when she wanted her to be in the short film.
I think she's beautiful in this movie. I mean, she has that alabaster skin, the blue eyes. She looks very, she was
very Kidman.
Just a very striking person. And it is that thing of just her look has gotten so abstracted over the years, where even just the amount of changes she's made to her hair, it's she's incapable of going back to her natural hair state, I think, at this point. And it is so fascinating to look at this color and this texture.
Well, the hair was a very deliberate decision.
Yeah.
To have her hair be curly, because I think, did she say she hated her hair curly?
So 3 things. Kidman, as we say, requested the 19-inch corset. She wanted to be psychologically in pain restricted.
Cool.
2, she wanted curly hair because she had it that way when she was young, and she didn't like herself like that. She did not want to be quote unquote beautiful. She wanted to look a bit odd, I guess.
She's still
I guess
very
it's just
beautiful.
Because I feel
she's also just incredibly striking.
Yeah.
Obviously her relationship with Campion, endures. They're really close.
She's supposed to be in the cut.
Right. She's in China Girl. She speaks very highly of Campion. She's on the award circuit with her right now. Being Ricardo's and Power. But apparently they've interacted and they're, whatever. It's an enduring friendship.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like her hair was sort of a defining characteristic of her. The 295 movie, she has straightened blonde hair, right?
Absolutely.
But so much of it was she's this.
Her hair is kind of red and bad.
Curly, fiery.
Used to be that. Right.
Strawberry blonde.
Right. By the time she gets to the 2000s, it's no looking back. She's straight from here on out. Right.
Well, she's got red hair in Moulin Rouge,
but straight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the curly hair is gone. I don't know. I mean, what did she look like in Lion? I don't remember what she looked like.
She's kind of dowdy. She's got grayish, blondish, brownish, short
she got an Oscar.
She did get an Oscar.
She's very good.
I like that movie. Yeah. It made me cry.
I don't love that movie, but that's maybe I like Kidman a lot, but I sometimes feel like I disagree on which modern Kidmans work for me and which ones don't.
Which ones do you
as opposed to classic Kidman?
Sure.
I mean, modern Kidman, you sort of mean Post-Oscar Kidman or whatever.
I'd say last 10, 12 years.
Sure.
Whatever.
Well, what's your fave Kidman?
I mean, I remember being now I got to look at a fucking list. But I remember being a little bit disappointed by her performance in Rabbit Hole.
Yeah, not a movie I have
ever seen. I just felt she'll kill that.
She got an Oscar nomination for that too,
she
didn't
did.
she? Yeah.
She did.
The Paperboy?
Love her in The Paperboy.
That's a fun one.
I like Kidman, and to steal a phrase from Lex G, bozo mode.
Yeah.
So
great
Paperboy, Stoker, I love her in.
Yes. I love her in Aquaman.
She is good in Aquaman.
I haven't seen Aquaman.
You should check it out. It's a good movie.
Yeah. She's good in Beguiled.
Yeah, I like her in Beguiled.
Great in Killing Sacred Deer.
She is, although she is, everyone except for Colin Farrell and Barry Keoghan are kind of props in that movie in that weird Yorgos Lanthimos way. But she is good. She's, she knows what to do.
There's so many weird, don't exist Kidman movies.
I mean, she's fun in Paddington.
I was gonna say a weirdly underrated.
No one talks about how she tried to get that
love Tu so much, and they love Hugh Grant. It's she fucking did it first.
She's fun.
Obviously, she's great and Just Go With It.
No, great in The Prom.
It is funny that I think the only 2 Kidmans, or 3 Kidmans, the podcast has covered: Aquaman, Bewitched, and Happy Feet.
Is that it?
I think
and this
that's
is the fourth.
This is the fourth.
It is funny
Wow,
sometimes
right. how we never touch the things they're known for.
Right, the
Yeah.
prism for some of the biggest movie stars that we exclusively see them through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. And it's not like she hasn't. Obviously, she's worked with plenty of major directors over the years.
Mhm.
And I do feel like now she's in this phase where she's like, I mostly want to work with major Yorgos Lanthimos. She was basically like, I'd like to be in a movie if you want to put me in one.
But then
Same with Robert Eggers, right? She's in The Northman.
Oh, she is. That's going to be something to look
She
forward to.
works so fucking much. You're
She
like
works a lot.
Ricardo's, 9 Perfect Strangers, The Prom, The Undoing,
Well, that's the
Bombshell.
thing. She
The
did
AMC commercials.
She did 3 TV
2 seasons of Big Little
miniseries.
Lies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Aquaman, Boy Erased, Destroyer. Those are all just the last 4 years.
Yeah.
She works a ton. She's married to Keith Urban, right? She's still married to him.
Yeah.
She is. They're very much in love, according to Instagram.
I covered the red carpet and after party for the Golden Compass. I may have mentioned this on this podcast.
Oh, wow.
And I remember her showing up with Urban, and she's taller than him, right?
Yeah.
And it was always that funny thing of like, after years of the Tom Cruise thing, and everyone the joke of like her being like, I can wear heels now. And I'm like, she married another shorty guy. Still shorty short.
Who kind of looks like Tom Cruise
well,
when
Tom
she
Cruise-y.
divorced him.
Yeah,
The long hair is very like
Oh, sure.
Vanilla Sky Mission Impossible.
She also had that
too.
period of like interesting hookups post Tom Cruise where it's like, is she dating Lenny Kravitz?
They
Like,
were
she did date
engaged.
him.
I know there were like a
big
lot,
deal.
but do you remember like every
Yeah.
time there'd be the like, have you heard that Nicole Kidman might be dating?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
don't know.
it's one of
trying to
the
remember some
only
of them.
Jimmy Fallon interviews I like. Have you guys seen that clip?
Where he and
When
Paris
Jimmy
Hilton talk
Fallon was
about
at like
NFT?
peak SNL heartthrob and she was like Nicole Kidman post divorce.
Okay.
And
Oh, so they're on the couch together.
she
Uh-huh.
she invited herself back to his apartment and he just played PlayStation. And it's like the only time I've seen Jimmy Fallon kind of actually like
Oh, so I see. They're recollecting about this.
she's like
when
that
she's
time
on-
I tried to sleep with you and he's like, what are you talking about?
Oh my god.
I've never
I
seen
would
that.
kill myself.
He's
That
like
is so
clearly
mortifying.
like mortified by it. But like, in a
Especially
funny
since
way.
like she at that point is a super famous movie
Yeah.
star.
He
who
was just like,
married to-
I had no
and
idea.
He's like a guy who's on SNL.
Right, he was just like, I didn't understand why you'd be here. And she's like, I'm like throwing myself at you and you're playing PlayStation. And I remember
PlayStation 1.
right. But she's sort of saying, like, it made me realize, like, this is like a boy. I need to be with a man.
Oh my
like, it's pretty
God.
savage, but it's incredible.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the end of this back to this movie,
Yeah.
it ends and with like a very 400 blows Antoine Duanel freeze frame.
Yeah. I
Of
hate
we
the
don't know what
slow
we don't know
motion.
what decision this
she
character has
runs
made.
away from a kiss from Vigo.
You don't.
What happens though? I didn't watch.
She
to the end of the
she
She thought they were brother
Yeah.
and sister.
she found out that
Ben may have texted me around 2 hours before this recording started saying like, hey, this movie isn't streaming. Can you get me a torrent? And I was
Yeah.
like, it's about 2.5 hours long.
That-
You'll
Yeah.
get the jizz.
that
Yeah.
might have happened.
Okay, that may have happened. Maybe. That's
she
blank check legends. It's not
Yeah.
canon.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
she gets a telegram that her cousin Ralph Touchett
Mhm.
is about to die.
Touch it.
Touch
touch it. Do I have a Ralph touch it here?
and she wants to go back to England to be by his side. And John Malkovich is like, if you went, you'd be making a terrible mistake. And she doesn't know what to do.
Mhm.
And she finds this thing out about the fact that Madame Merle is Pansy's mother.
Right.
She-
Shelley
yeah.
Duvall, which
Shelley Duvall, who's so good in
is
this.
so goodness. And this is sort of her her last run before
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
sort of
it's
retires.
the tail
Yeah.
end of her
Yeah.
career as an
Um,
actress. Yeah,
But it's a very fascinating use of her.
yeah, she's really fun.
Yeah.
really
Really
like her in this
Yeah.
movie.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I obviously
Um,
love Shelley Duvall. But yes, she's got this scene where she's trying to get Nicole Kidman to figure it out without having to spell it out in a sort of classic Shelley Duvall kind of way. And then that leads to the confrontation with Barbara Hershey.
In the rain.
Right.
And so Kidman does end up escaping to London. She's with her cousin as he dies.
Mhm.
He
And he gives her the additional reveals.
Yeah.
This last chunk of the movie is everyone being like, you didn't know what was going on the whole fucking time?
and she, has this moment with Vigo in the
Mhm.
snow. And
Where
he's-
Vigo's basically like, don't go back.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, we figured it out. We all of your old friends have figured out how to get you out of this abusive relationship.
Right.
And you have enough money, we'll make it work.
It feels a little something about Mary, where like all the suitors have teamed up.
Yeah.
And they're just like, as long as it's not Matt Dillon.
Right, exactly. Let's just knock this guy off the table. Right. And much as in the book, we don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
And
it would be funny if Jane was like, well, I'm going to add an ending, but that certainly
like China did with Fight Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is just in the news.
I've been trying to parse that. When does it stop? Before the end of the movie, like, do you see buildings blowing up? Have you heard about this? Like,
yes, my understanding is you see the buildings collapse, and then it says shortly thereafter they were all apprehended.
Yes,
but I believe it also says like they stopped the bombs or something. And then my favorite part is it says that Tyler.
So maybe they don't see the building.
So Tyler went to jail.
Yeah.
Tyler, who is not real,
right,
went to jail and was rehabilitated and got out of jail.
It's like they stole.
There could be a sequel where he's good.
They stole the end title cards from Unbreakable, right? Where it's like Tyler Durden is now in a prison for the criminally insane.
Yeah,
but like it's anyway. I like it. People were mad about that. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, more of that. I want to see the China cut of everything. Right. Let him cut it all.
The China cut of Portrait of a Lady is like, and then John Malkovich died as he should. He went straight to hell. And
Pansy was free
nice
from
marriage.
the convent. Yeah,
why did they add that? I don't understand.
They wanted to prove that crime doesn't pay or whatever.
Right.
Like they added like a moral ending, which makes no sense. You can't watch Fight Club. Right. Like, I definitely thought this was about a guy who was gonna get caught.
Right, so they say like they stopped the bombs and police apprehended everyone involved.
Yeah.
Poochie died on his way back home to his planet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's pretty much how Portrait of a Lady ends.
Right. And so you walk out, with your half-eaten nacho box and your big gulp of Mountain Dew, and you're like,
Cheeto
popcorn.
popcorn.
I didn't totally land.
Yeah, no. But it is funny if you talk about, or not funny, it's interesting. And Campion's like overarching career narrative, I don't think people really cite this as the big bounce.
No, they think of the Holy Smoke in the cut combo. I think that's the real bounce.
That is
forget
about this was seen as a disappointment, and then the next two movies, people were like, "What the fuck is she doing?"
The thing is, like I said, even though this movie made no money, I do think the Oscar noms helped its reputation skate.
Yeah,
and then obviously also even a female director, if you've done the piano, I do think you can survive a bomb or two.
Yes.
Like it's not like Karen Kusama where it's like one flop straight to jail. Like because the piano had been such a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously she's from another country. That's
right.
But yes, this film premiered at Venice, got a limited Christmas release. Just what you want to see at Christmas.
Feel good movie. Yeah.
Well, wait, are we moving to the box office?
We will in a second.
Oh,
Why?
okay. Well, no, final thoughts because I just wanted to offer something, but continue.
No, I want to hear these final thoughts.
Ready and waiting. Fire them out.
All right. So like, you know how in movies there's like a disclaimer?
Like animals
there's
going to
be a lot of lights.
Sure.
Disclaimer.
Okay.
Or animals.
But no, you mean like, sure, like if you've got epilepsy, this is a movie, a lot of strobes
this
or
should
whatever.
have come with an ADD warning. Because I had to, like, you would have had to have strapped me down
Ben had
to
two
the
fidget
couch.
spinners going.
Yeah, I could not watch the movie. I couldn't watch it. I was just like,
you were.
I know things are happening, and yet here I am. It's not registering.
I know what you mean. This is like the opposite of like a Netflix movie where like if you put this on in the background, you would absorb 0%.
Right.
Like you were just doing other stuff.
Did you find this or An Angel at My Table more difficult to get through?
This
really.
You liked An Angel at My Table.
I like An Angel at My Table a lot, but the first like hour and a half of that movie, it was difficult.
Before she's
interesting.
Like a grown-up.
I was pretty immediately.
The thing with Angel at My Table is it's like you are following one person's journey in a fairly straight line, so like you can at least grab onto that, I guess. You know, I mean, I know what you mean that obviously it's more abstract and kind of, broken up memories early on. So it's sort of like, what am I watching?
I feel like I've talked about this, but my most extreme example of what you're talking about, Ben, still remains in the 7 years of doing this podcast, K-19, The Widowmaker, where I just could not watch that fucking movie. I'd like put it on and I'd fall asleep and I'd be like, okay, time to give it another shot. And then I'd fall asleep again.
Sometimes it's not even the movie. It's just, it's whatever. You're not in the mood for, a heavy Soviet drama about like, submarine.
Usually I watch like the movies the day of, right before we
record,
which
I think you shouldn't do, but that's what you do.
You think that, but I like to be hyper fresh or whatever. That was one where I do feel like
Griffin likes it fresh.
I like it fresh. I like it hot and fresh. I like it hot and fresh, baby. But that was one where I was like trying to watch it 4 days before we recorded or whatever, and I was just like maybe not in the mood. Went back to it the next day, and I was like maybe it's more of an evening movie. Like I just kept on trying.
Interesting question to post the Blankies. What is the most boring movie we've ever
What is the film you've had the hardest time?
Will come up a lot.
Weight of Water is maybe my number 2.
Weight of Water is going to come up for sure.
It's maybe my
What's the movie about the sky?
Aloha? Aloha's
wild.
Aloha, you're sort of like, what?
Right, yeah.
Right.
I want to point out that this film, Barbara Hershey got...
David, did you ever receive the copy of Elizabethtown I sent you?
Oh, yeah. It's on the shelf.
You never talked about it.
I think I took a picture of it and forgot to send it to the group.
Is there an Elizabethtown steelbook?
No,
but it is like a
special edition,
right?
The Paramount Presents or Selects label or whatever it's called.
I'm going to watch it again sometime. Maybe it'll get
David was saying he was considering watching it, and then I bought him a copy of it on the Blank Check Company card.
Very good.
And then you never told me.
I totally am sure it arrived. It's early in parenthood for me. And
they are both wearing Bombas socks.
For the listeners I want to point out that this film, Barbara Hershey won the Golden Globe. Was nominated for the Golden Globe.
Yes.
Won LAFCA. And won the National Society of Film Critics Awards for Best Supporting Actress.
Okay.
Martin Donovan won Best Supporting Actor at the National Society of Film Critics. That's an interesting pick.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I think he's good.
He is good.
I just always am happy to see him. Yeah.
And this is the year. This is 96, so I feel like Secrets and Lies is a big critic's favorite. Breaking the Waves was a big critic's favorite.
This is the like attack of the Euro indie year where they're like Hollywood can't even get a movie in.
Right. This is the Fargo
because Jerry Maguire is like the one Hollywood
the
movie.
Hit. Right. So obviously Fargo is a big one. Everyone Says I Love You. The People versus Larry Flint. Seems to Big Night is popping up on some of these, and National Society of Film Critics gave Best Actor to Eddie Murphy for The Nutty Professor. A fun win.
Yes.
Anyway,
I remember Elvis Mitchell was like all about that season. He just kept on saying like, "Why is no one taking this seriously? He's a Best Actor contender."
Fair point. But this film opened at Venice and got a muted to negative response.
So they weren't chanting portrait like they did with Angel.
Maybe just sort of like a light clap.
Kind of obviously, as we all say, as we were saying at the beginning, the piano cast such a long shadow, so it was sort of ripe for a backlash. It was like, okay, finally Jane Campion's put a foot wrong. Right?
I'll say this too. I know it was done partially in tribute, but Portrait of a Lady on Fire has really fucked up the SEO on this movie.
It has. It is, of course, a sequel to this film.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was really there was candles, but not a lot of fire in this.
Not a lot of fire.
Yeah.
It's if you go on Letterboxd, like every dumb like little review, people she wasn't on fire. I was like, watch another movie, bozos.
Marie, that's funny.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay,
and
that's actually
the
really
first time you see it, it's funny. The second time you see it, it's stupid.
If you wrote a review like that and you're listening, good fucking job.
You're cool.
And I like
I'm gonna post that review right now, and I ask that all of our listeners like it.
Okay. Lee Marshall. I want to say Lee Marshall of The Independent, who loved this film, said that he thinks the backlash was partly because the piano had been such a big deal. But I do love this quote.
Wait, we should put it on the Blank Check letter.
We should all put it.
No, we're not putting it on the Blank Check letter. Marie White runs that, and she wouldn't want it.
No, I mean, normally I just, for these new releases, I just do the episode descriptions. But hey,
look, I'm doing a review, and I don't want anyone stealing my thunder.
You haven't done a Letterboxd review in a minute, Griffin.
Right. The last one I did was Busted Made Me Feel Bad after seeing Afterlife, and I think that was my first review in 3 years. Because I didn't like everyone fucking trying to triangulate what we're doing on the podcast by looking at our activities.
I know.
I've been sneaky on the Letterboxd. David, sorry, what were you saying?
Lee Marshall's quote.
Too busy writing my incredible review.
Lee Marshall's quote.
The fuck? Why wasn't she on fire? 1 star.
About the Venice Film Festival premiere. The atmosphere of fully armed belligerents at the press screening was so thick you could have cut it with a chainsaw. As we shuffled in, the press rep warned me, this is a film you need to be wide awake for.
Oh, okay.
Afterwards, following some perfunctory applause, the audience filed out in silence. You could spot the daily newspaper critics by the worried look in their eyes, a look which said, for Christ's sakes, I've got a deadline. What the hell am I meant to think about this film?
Do you relate to that?
I do relate to that in that, like, I don't have to write. I'm not like I work for a trade. So it's not like I walk out of a festival and have to be like, okay, I got to have an opinion in half an hour. But definitely you see those movies where you're like, I don't know. Give me a day.
Yeah.
I don't know. And this certainly probably would be. Need to digest. But didn't get great reviews. Ebert, as you said, was basically like, if you haven't read the book, I don't know how this movie makes any sense to you and why the fuck is Malkovich in this movie. He's so malevolent. Why would she ever marry him?
Sure.
Where Campion's take is he's malevolent in the book. It's not hidden.
Honestly, there's something kind of hot about how malevolent
I
he
agree
is.
with that.
Yeah.
That's her take.
I don't want to do the limited weekend for this because that's when Michael came out. So we did that fairly recently. So how about the expanding weekend?
Please. Let's expand it. Let's expand our minds.
I'm going to make sure we've never... Okay. So The Portrait of a Lady expands on January 17th.
A Lady Expands.
A Lady expands to 570 theaters and makes $1.4 million.
Marie.
Sorry?
Expands into more theaters, I mean.
How much did it make again? I missed that.
In its expansion, it made $1.4 million. Its total domestic gross is 3.6.
Wow. So it's front-loaded weekend.
Yeah. Number one at the box office is a comedy film starring, I think, someone who had recently died. Or he was about to.
Candy?
No, it's
Farley?
Chris Farley. Is it Almost Heroes?
No, okay. It's not Almost Heroes. It is Chris Farley, and he
Beverly
dies.
Hills Ninja.
He dies this year. It's Beverly Hills.
So this is his last
pretty much his
death
last
vehicle.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But it is opening number one on January 17th to $12 million.
Is that a porch classic, Ben?
Yeah, Ben, I'm looking at you here.
He's weighing
Beverly
it. He's
Hills
deep in
Ninja.
contemplation about whether or not it qualifies.
Because it's kind of bad.
It's Dugan.
Okay.
It's kind of bad, right?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Kung Fu, of course, is the tagline.
Which is a good tagline.
I just watched the trailer for that for the first time. I didn't know.
Why'd you do that?
Why? Because I had a conversation with my friends about Almost Heroes. My friend watched it and he was like, my friend Chad, who is a fan of the podcast.
Shout out Chad.
He was like, he thought it might secretly be good because
Christopher
Guest directed it.
Right.
That's Almost Here. Right. Yeah.
Right. And then he's like, no, it is terrible. And you're watching like two actors with very serious substance abuse issues.
Right. It's
trying
and Harry both in the grip
like
of
a
person. So he's like, it was just a miserable watch.
Right. And that comes out after he dies.
Yeah. But that the only Farley movie I've seen is Tommy Boy.
Which is
pretty much where you have to put it.
Yeah, it's great. I really liked it, but I was like, ooh, Beverly Hills Ninja. Like, what's
Kung Fu?
You want him to have made other good movies.
I didn't realize that movie is about like him being like adopted by a group of like ninjas because they think like that he is the chosen one.
So it's sort of a Kung Fu Panda situation. Where it's like, this unlikely guy for some reason.
Yeah, Panda's
this white guy.
A Beverly Hills Ninja ripoff. But then they were like, oh, what if we put some meat into it?
Nicolette Sheridan.
All I remember about it is that he kind of like he always would be clean shaven, and in that movie he kind of has a little bit of scruff,
and he's got like a bowl haircut.
He's got a bowl haircut,
right?
But
Kung Fu.
He like
I'm gonna keep trying.
I didn't get it at first, but it's starting to clear up for me a little bit.
He just looks sad. He looks sad.
Do you know they did a direct-to-video Beverly Hills Ninja sequel?
They did
in the last 10 years. Do you know who they cast to replace Chris Farley?
I do not know.
Okay, so about 2010. You're doing Beverly Hills Ninja.
Well, there's the obvious
sequel.
Well, no, just tell me who is in Beverly Hills.
Who's the obvious person you're thinking of?
Like a Kevin James, maybe.
Of
right?
Course. Yeah. Obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious. Very close to who they picked. David Hasselhoff.
What?
Okay. Well, that's just another direction.
2010.
Beverly
Wow.
Hills.
So that's
Weird,
like an extra
right?
credit assignment for Blankies if
the
you want to
Farley-
watch.
We're
that.
gonna do them on the Patreon.
You know,
Beverly Hills
the
Ninja
Farley
movies.
thing, right? So it's basically what, like Airheads, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja, Almost Heroes. Like that's basically any
Billy
movie
Madison.
Billy Madison has a small role. Wayne's World, he pops up.
He's in both Wayne's Worlds, different roles.
But like I guess forget Airheads even. It's really just Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja, Almost Heroes.
It's 4 vehicles.
It's always the same, right? He's always like a fuck up.
Yeah.
Who's goofy, but you love him, right? Like he never deviated from that, right? He was just going to do that for a while.
Well, that was his whole thing,
That
right?
was
Like
his
he
whole
needed to
thing.
be loved.
Like
he
loved to be
he loved to be loved.
But like do you think like say Chris Farley figures it out?
Yeah.
Right? Like is there a phase where he's like, what if I played someone scary, or what if I played like someone more villain? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, there were things he was supposed to. I mean, what he was going to play Shrek.
He was going to play.
I think that
he recorded like a lot of it.
He recorded
Yeah.
60% of the
I didn't
movie.
know that.
You can
Really?
see animation to
A
Chris
very
Farley's voice. Yeah.
famous like
Yeah.
what if scenario. Yeah.
Whoa.
This the bizarre thing about Shrek is they designed it for him. He recorded 60%
A lot
of the
of it, and then he
movie.
dies,
They were
right.
animating it. They died. They were like, "Fuck, sunk cost. We have to start over." Right? They hire Mike Myers.
Another
Mike
SNL
Myers
guy.
records 60% of the movie. They start animating it. They do a rough screening with like 60% animated. He goes to Jeffrey Katzenberg and he's like, "I think you should be Scottish." And he's like, "Mike, it will cost me $20 million to throw this out and start over and reanimate if you want to do Scottish." He's like, "I really think you should be Scottish." And they do the third time through and it works.
I mean, that was the right
When
call.
did
But
they-
they're like
Just
two
like
failed.
Donkey.
Donkey.
Yeah. Can you imagine just saying like, "Hey,
Donkey.
don't."
At
Do you
what-
think that's what it was?
Yeah.
Like Katzenberg's like, that's a bad idea, and he went donkey, and Katzenberg's eyes dollar signs.
Yeah,
He's
oh,
like,
shit! God damn it!
At what point in the production history do they decide to get rid of Shrek's hair?
Did Shrek have hair?
Shrek had hair.
Did
Shrek.
he have a bowl cut? Kung Fu.
That happens, I think, after the Farley death. They
Okay.
redesigned the whole character.
Because
after Farley.
I know if you
Yeah.
go to the Academy Museum in
Yes.
Hollywood, they have an original like maquette of Shrek
Right.
with hair.
Yeah, he had a little.
'Cause-
He had a little bowl cut.
because it
in
was a
fact.
William Steig book.
It is. Yeah.
And the original Farley version, he was much closer to that art style. And then I think after Farley died, that changed. No, I think because it was also like Farley, there were always things that got thrown. I'm trying to remember now. There are other movies that were like written for
Of course,
Farley.
you hear a lot of
that
those,
got
right,
made
comedy vehicles where you're like,
later.
5 years later, right? This was a Farley
that were
thing.
slightly different types.
Right.
And I feel like he was one of the people who would get thrown around for Confederacy of Dunces because anytime
course.
someone's
And he-
about
and
to
he-
die,
And he wrote.
they say that maybe they're going to do Confederacy of Dunces.
Yeah, it's a
No,
fair
it is,
point.
but also it happened with Will Ferrell and it happened with Galifianakis. It happens with fucking
Jack
everybody.
Black, I think.
Tommy Boy's the only one that gets it right, and
Yeah.
it's weird that it's the first one, and you don't think that guy would necessarily work as the lead of a movie, and they
Works.
cracked it in terms of him actually having a sense of humanity and integrity to him and trying really hard, and then they fuck it up and then he dies.
Number 2 at the box office.
Yeah.
Is another film starring a comedy icon. We were just talking about him.
Mike Myers?
Indirectly, no, but a co-star of Mike Myers, not Shrek.
Sandler?
Another SNL guy?
No. Well, yes, he is an SNL
Eddie
guy.
Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Not a Mike Myers contemporary, but
Sure.
an SNL guy.
Donkey.
Probably one of his most forgotten films in this sort of like. I feel like Dr. Dolittle has maybe just or is about to come out. Like
Dr. Dolittle, I think, comes out in 97.
this,
I wanna
and this
say.
is Jan 97. So like this is sort of the end of his like
Okay,
adult
sure.
star sort of swoon, and
Right.
he's about to swerve. Obviously, he had Nutty Professor the year
Right.
before.
This isn't Holy Man, is it?
It's not Holy Man.
That comes out post Dr. Dolittle.
Mhm.
That's another weird flop.
Is it Bowfinger?
It's not both.
Is it
Great
Metro?
movie.
It's Metro.
Thank you.
Metro?
Never
What is
seen
Metro?
Eddie
Metro?
Murphy.
Metro's
he's like a
his action
hostage
movie.
negotiator, and I
Is
think
it
like,
funny?
I think
A
he's a
little
little
bit,
funny in it,
right.
but it's like a more of an action movie.
Eddie had that weird thing in the 90s
It's like an
where
R-rated action movie.
he got very jealous of Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
And it's why like Beverly Hills Cop 3 has 2 jokes in it.
Right. Way
and
too
why he
much
did
action.
Metro, where he was just like, I want to be able to be an action star.
But like Metro is still marketed as like this negotiator's got
Right.
one big mouth, like or whatever. You know, it's
Right.
trying to be like, don't worry, Eddie's here,
Right.
but you know,
But he's like funny the way like Samuel L. Jackson is funny in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Exactly,
It's not
he's-
an action comedy necessarily. I think.
Metro,
Yeah.
not a big hit.
Yeah.
Number 3 at the box office, a musical,
Number 3 at the box office is music. Evita?
Evita.
Evita.
Helen Parker's Evita.
Is that the one where it's like "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina"?
You nailed it.
That was a big-
It's not the one
cultural
where she says
thing.
"Kung Fu."
Oh, okay.
I had to do it.
David is
She
getting
comes
better.
out on the balcony.
It's getting better.
Kung Fu. Not a good movie, but you watch it and you are like, God damn. Like, I do love how fucking blown out this
It's a picture.
is. You know, it is a picture.
What other?
Banderas is smoking hot.
Jonathan Pryce is smoking hot.
He is smoking cold.
What?
He's cold cut.
Andrew Lloyd Webber adaptations. Cats.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Les Mis. Who's in Jesus Christ Superstar?
Me? No, I don't know.
Were you in Jesus Christ Superstar?
No, I wasn't actually. My school did do a production.
We did Godspell.
No One Famous is in the 70s. Jesus Christ Superstar.
Schumacher, Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera, yes.
Yep.
Is Evita the best one?
That's a good question.
He's not had a very.
It's kind of the classiest one.
Yeah, because
like in that, like when they finally do Phantom, it's junky. Like that movie is fun in its way, but it's a Joel Schumacher movie. It's very junky, right? Which I think is a good match for him in a way because he's a junky guy.
Yes,
but he thinks of himself as a prestige.
Les Mis. I mean, it won awards, but. Does
Les Mis
bad.
Yeah.
Evita is way better than
Yeah.
Is there any? I'm like, are we forgetting? So obviously, Cats is a disaster. I do think the Norman Jewison Jesus Christ Superstar is good.
I've never seen it.
Underrated. So maybe, but I think sure, Evita. Give it to Evita.
Sure.
Number 4 at the box office is a horror film that's dropped from number 1 the week before. A classic January release.
Like a dump. Does this movie have any merit, David?
I think it's one of those movies I've always wanted to see. It's a monster movie. It's the kind of movie where the poster doesn't have any people on it, just a building.
What? And it's about the monster?
It's like there's a monster on the loose.
Okay.
It's got the classic, America's favorite 2 stars in the 90s, Penelope Ann Miller and Tom Sizemore.
What?
The fuck is this? Like alligator?
No.
Is the name of the movie the name of the creature?
No.
What the fuck is this?
It's directed by Peter Hyams.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it made $48 million worldwide.
Posters a building. It's a monster
I believe it was
movie.
meant to be set in the American Museum of Natural History, but I think it's actually set in the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago. But something.
Does a dinosaur come to life?
It's like a lizard thing, like a South American lizard monster comes to life and goes on a killing spree in a museum.
Wow, sounds great.
Yeah.
Relic.
Relic?
The Relic.
The
yes.
Relic.
Okay. I always get that confused with Mimic.
Yes. Well, Mimic is a better movie. That's Del Toro.
Yes.
Obviously. I just like where the
That's one of the worst posters.
I don't know.
I've ever
Fucking
seen.
there's a light in a building.
I don't know. It's a
shit. Take your medicine, piggy.
I'm tired.
It's January. I don't know. There's a relic.
It's
We'll
January.
figure it out.
That should have been the tagline for this movie. I don't know. It's January.
Who knows? Who's in it? Fuck you, Penelope Ann Miller. Satisfied?
Maybe. Linda Hunt is in this too.
Wow.
I bet you it's good.
Is there
Yeah,
a Relic
Hunt's a good
series?
director.
Is this a Patreon contender?
Yeah. Yeah, Relics. Number 5 at the box office is one of my favorite films of all time. We've covered it on the
Jerry
podcast.
Maguire.
It's Jerry Maguire.
Jay McGuags.
Doing great in its 6th week. You've also got Scream. You've got Michael. You've got The People versus Larry Flint. You've got 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, with Glenn.
Woof.
Yeah.
And you've got Jackie Chan's First Strike.
Oh,
Kung
yeah.
Fu. No.
No, not this guy.
Not this guy.
Not this guy.
A solid January. Some crap.
Yeah.
But you could also go see Evita or Jerry Maguire.
There's some stuff.
Catch up on
There's some
Scream,
stuff.
the movie all the kids are seeing.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of font. Scream.
Yeah. Oh, on my shirt.
Yeah.
The
You went
Yeah.
still
to
the
a
DVD,
DVD.
font. Very
Yeah.
90s font.
Yeah.
Did you see Scream yet?
No.
New Scream?
I have not seen New Scream. I was going to go to the last showing at the United Artists Court Street.
Yeah.
We lost another great theater recently.
Yeah.
We did prayers
Here in
up. I
New
mean,
York
not that I hadn't been since my experience with Molly's game there, but I mean, I love
What
it.
was your
Dick's
experience
out for
with
you at Court
Molly's
Street.
game?
Digs out for you, Court Street. My experience at Molly's game was the movie did not start. Right, like we're Joey.
Honestly,
and I, it was with
like
Joey.
that's kind of good.
It's kind of good. Yeah.
Joey and I were just sitting there, and after like 20 minutes, I was like, okay. And so I go and like find someone. They're like, I was like, the movie didn't start, and they're like, oh, okay. And so the movie started half an hour late. But whatever, and we're sitting watching the movie, and then half an hour before the movie's supposed to be end, curtains close, lights come up. Like it was just on a timer, and it was during a very intense scene. Like,
classic
the mob is like attacking her.
Or she
right?
breaks
And it was
into
just
her
suddenly
home.
like, all right, everybody out.
Classic.
I never
Court
had
Street.
any of like the iconically terrible experiences there that people had.
I've had wonderful experiences there, but I certainly have had a few of those.
My friend got kicked out of the theater for yelling, "This movie sucks balls" during Van Helsing, which is egregious because there is no theater at which people yelled more often at any movie. And they had like 3 employees escort him out.
Right. Well,
I've also told the story about when I took a date there to see Soul Plane. And there was 1 African-American man in the theater and like 15 Hasidic Jews and then 2 15-year-olds on a date. And everyone was uncomfortable. Like the dynamics were just incredibly bizarre.
That's a real Brooklyn experience.
It was
for sure.
Yes.
I saw the last movie I saw there was in the Heights, a completely empty theater. So I just got to take my phone out and get photos of the Dear Evan Hansen trailer the whole time.
It was a simpler time.
So big.
It was a simpler time. I think Dr. Sleep was the last thing I saw there.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a really long time, but I'll share what I loved about that theater is Checkers was across the street. So I would go because I would be kind of baked.
Popeyes next door as well. It was kind of a haven.
But I would just get some chicken sandwiches and eat those while watching the movie.
Yeah.
All true. Shout out My Little Pizzeria, my favorite pizzeria around there on Court Street. Love that spot.
There's a good banh mi shop across the way.
Yeah.
Like it was a very New York theater. That's all we can say about it. Vulture wrote a great piece with a bunch of different accounts of people.
I've seen more movies there in this country, at least, than in any other theater. I think.
Yeah.
Just because that was the spot.
You said in this country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kung
Fu.
I walked there during Hurricane Sandy because we were desperate to leave our apartment. And so we all walked from Bed-Stuy to Court Street to see Flight.
Hey.
Great movie to see during a storm.
Great movie to see during a storm.
You rolled it.
Yeah.
You were feeling all right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Thank
segue. There you go.
you all for listening.
There we go. That's a segue.
Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you to Marie Bardi.
Woo!
For our social media and so many other things.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure. It's like home. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be a while until I'm on again. I think, judging on what we're doing in the future.
No. You're good.
Thank you to AJ McKeon, Alex Barron for our editing. Joe Bowen, Pat Reynolds for our artwork. Lane Montgomery and the Great American Novel for our theme song. Thank you, Shay J. Birch, Nick Lariano for our research.
Mm-hmm.
You can go blankiesoutatred.com for some real nerdy shit. Our website's going to be launching soon, and everything's going to be centralized, so I no longer have to list 17 different websites at the end of each episode. So look out for that. That's where March Madness voting will be happening. That's where it will be easier to find our merch, including new chip coins and the Spreadmaster spatula, our commemorative item for the 2021 Ranking the Walk.
Do you know about this? Do you know that we made a custom spatula?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Spreadmaster.
The Spreadmaster.
Refer to the spatula by its proper name.
Think about it. At home, you want to get your spread on.
Spread it up.
You want to get spreaded. You know what to reach for.
You're trying to like frost a cake or something?
Yeah,
you gotta reach for
frost
the
a
Spreadmaster.
cake. Just trying to get down in that bowl.
Yeah.
Grab yourself a Spreadmaster, Talking the Walk 2021 blank check podcast merch.
David has fallen into the sunken place.
No, I'm just looking at. No, I'm fine. I'm good.
I just got.
He is floating sort of down.
Yeah.
I just got a text from my friends with a link to a 1-star review of The Portrait of a Lady.
Oh,
that says, "Da fuck, why wasn't she on fire?"
That sounds like a pretty funny.
That's actually. Hold on.
I'm laughing when I hear
that was good.
Review, and I actually beg our listeners to like this, because by the time this episode comes out, probably 15 different Film Bro guys on Twitter have screenshotted my review and gone, "Why does anyone listen to this guy's podcast? Seriously, people actually listen to this guy?" I guarantee that's happened at least 10 times by now. So I'm asking the Blankies to just hit that fucking like button. Smash
hate this so
like button.
Why are we not done?
We are done.
Okay.
Tune in next week for Holy Smoke with Kyle Buchanan.
Yeah, that's
great Kyle Buchanan.
That's right. Great app.
Great app. Fun app. Corker.
It's a corker.
There's an incredible Campion tidbit.
Some good Campion IRL tidbits in that one.
I haven't seen that movie. I'm excited to watch it.
I think you're going to enjoy.
I think you're.
I hear that there's some pee in it.
Yeah, there sure
is. Yep, indeed. We also get into a lot of Mad Max talk because Kyle's got a book. I'm a Mad Max hero,
which is really
anyway. Listen to that, and as always, Kung Fu.
Damn right. Thank you. Donkey.